Welcome back to the Anonymous Gamers. I am your host, AvatarAidan, here with my friends KibbsMcGibbs, Knackster, and Protector of Memes.
What's up, guys?
I wasn't here last week because there was literally nothing for me to say on the games that I talked about.
And you were busy with other things, let's say.
Yeah, true, that was my girlfriend.
That is true. But we are here with the second part of 2023, and
we're covering the first half this time, now that I'm available.
Yep. And when Anakin said, this is where the fun begins. And this will definitely be fun because our first game is Metroid Prime Remastered. Take it away, Kibbs and Protector.
Metroid Prime. Sorry, guys, I didn't like this one. Metroidvanias are like have this tendency to make me a little too lost. Maybe I'm just stupid, but
that is a possibility.
Most Metroidvanias I play, I just wander around for there's like a moment where I wander around for 2 hours with no clue where to go because I missed like one thing, and it's like, oops, okay. And I'm just not super big on that. Game's gorgeous. Game is absolutely beautiful. And the atmosphere is like stellar. But on the whole, I just wasn't super compelled by the gameplay. The combat's not anything crazy, but it's fun. I'm excited for Prime 4, but I don't know.
Like, I mean, if you're not jiving with Prime 1 and Prime 4 decides tough break.
I mean, that's fine. If I end up like not liking Prime 4, then I mean, it's not the end of the world.
Hey, well, the biggest surprise of 2023's February Nintendo Direct was Nintendo just being like, you want Metroid Prime on the Switch? We're gonna give you Metroid Prime on the Switch. We're just gonna casually... for a digital-only release and then put out a physical release later because, I don't know, fuck you, that's how we do things. Most pleasant surprise of that Direct, by the way. I was fully expecting for there to be no Metroid news at all, and yet, here we are. And to say that Metroid Prime Remastered is a massive accomplishment would be underselling just how big of a deal this is. Because you want to know about a funny thing, there's a reason why it's called Remastered. Despite the massive visual overhaul, it is still fundamentally on a code level the same Metroid Prime that you've played on GameCube. If you're European or Japanese, because those versions patched out a bunch of sequence breaks, things that were available in the American version, but dear God, it was truly something else. I was super excited to finally get a physical copy, and when I played it, I could not process that visuals this good on a game so well optimized was available on Nintendo Switch. Like, half the time I thought I was looking at a game that was better suited for a PS5 or Xbox Series X. No, it really isn't. And when I say well optimized, I really do mean, with the exception of one loading screen once you select a save file, everything runs pretty much exactly like it did in the past. There's no extra long loading screens, means no frame rate drops, none of that. And well, everything you like about Metroid Prime is here and accounted for, including a multitude of control options, and yes, even ones based on the remote nunchuck. Though the default control schemes also are pretty good too. I will say, the only thing I don't like about it is the fact that the spring ball is on X instead of B, which makes no damn sense at all. It's like, it is literally a jump button. Why would you put it on B by default? And swapping beams did feel a little weird at times, but something I got used to. Really, the only thing I can say about Metroid Prime Remastered that I felt was in any way disappointing is the lack of an unlockable fusion suit. That's literally it. That is literally the only thing wrong, because it's damn good, and especially with my memory. Metroid Prime Remastered just, knocked down a door and yelled, "This is how you do a remaster." And suffice it to say, I'm expecting Metroid Prime 2 Echoes Remastered by the end of the year, Nintendo. In short, Game good.
Play this at some point.
Really good. Winning.
I don't know if this is true, but in the North American version, is it based off the GameCube version or the Wii version? Because the Wii version added some lore that was in Prime 3.
I don't. This is the first time I'm hearing any lore from Prime 3 being added back retroactively, but I can tell you right now, if that were the case, I would have heard of it because of what's going on with Metroid, and the community would have made a big deal out of it. And if that hadn't. That, for the European and Japanese releases of Metroid Prime back on GameCube, there were some changes as to certain entry logs to try and make more sense concerning the Metroid Prime and how it got access to its wide arsenal. You know.
That's a plus.
But, yeah. Of course, if you're playing randomizers and whatnot, you're not going to be playing Metroid Prime Remastered because, again, no sequence breaks like early Space Jump boots or whatever.
If Metroid Prime 4 looks as good as Prime Remastered, then we're in for a good-ass game, but the problem is that Metroid Prime 4 is taking forever.
The problem is that Prime 4 is not real.
Not real.
Knack, are you planning on getting into the Prime series?
So I have actually played Prime 1 back in the day, and Prime 2 I have a very particular history with. It's kind of my white whale, in that I've attempted it many times since 2004 and have just never beaten it.
Meanwhile, I'm saying...
It was my first Metroid game, and I want to beat it because it's real cool, but I always just put it down for some reason. But I also really want to check out Prime Remastered, because this is a pretty looking game.
It really is. Oh, and another thing, they did also include some new animations for Samus, as to make it feel a little more polished up. And on top of that, they even restored the charge beam visual effects that were lost in the Wii version. So, you know, kind of get the best of all worlds.
I think this is one of the few Switch games that actually look up to snuff for how well the Switch can look when it's made for the Switch.
Well, that, and it should also be mentioned that Metroid Prime Remastered is actually pretty good for those on a budget. Like, obviously, if you try to go digitally, it's not going to work out, but I have seen physical copies on Amazon go for, like, I don't know, 24 quid, and by the standards of a first-party Nintendo title, that's a fucking steal.
A first-party Switch title that's not $60? Holy shit.
Honestly, that surprised me when they announced it. It's like $40, and I'm like, what? Especially seeing how good it looked. It's crazy. It's worth it for $40.
It is very much worth it.
I need to pick it up at some point because I have a hankering to replay the Prime trilogy.
You should do it right now.
I'll try to do it after the podcast or after when my birthday comes. Okay.
Anyways, I think what's happening is because I haven't played Prime 3. That's why they haven't made Prime 4. Once I finally get around to it, they'll fix it.
Well, you also gotta beat Prime 2.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of implied.
Not skip 2.
No, I need to beat that more than anything else.
Only skip 2 if it's in Devil May Cry.
I've beaten DMC 2 and I haven't beaten Prime 2.
Okay, Prime Remastered. Oh, Hi-Fi Rush. Let's do this.
Best game of 2023, by and large. Yeah, another shadow drop that had just casually turned out to be one of the biggest hits of the year, and definitely the win that Xbox fans have needed. You know, to put it simply, I was not expecting Hi-Fi Rush at the developer direct the day before it dropped. Thought it looked interesting, decided to give it a shot.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, has this been cutting out for anyone too?
Yeah, it's been cutting out for.
Oh, look, someone might need an Ethernet.
My
Gable. It's okay. We can just you can just edit this out.
Edit this out, like just us zooming it, just me zooming in on protectors, like icon.
Yeah,
with the
put some like copyrighted like hi-fi. Put the non-streamer mode hi-fi rush music on here so that the whole podcast gets claimed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But he should.
Do we want to?
Let's
Get him back in and then.
let me DM him to see if he's okay. See if everything's okay over there.
Yeah, he might just be rambling on still about hi-fi.
You cut out.
Oblivious.
I typed that in to his DMs. Okay.
And we wait.
I
am waiting for Kibbs to dunk on this game.
I'm not gonna dunk on the game because I don't think it's bad. I just think it's.
Oh, his Wi-Fi cut out. Holy shit.
Ooh.
Do we want to do Trails to Azure first while we wait for him to come back?
Trying to reconnect. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, hold on. Trying to reconnect. We'll talk Trails to Azure while you do that. Okay.
So please do not play a loud soundboard sound when you come.
Yeah, I muted the soundboard.
Okay.
On his end.
Okay.
Oh, can you mute soundboards per user?
You can.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I need to do that when he joins.
Okay. Since we're waiting for him, tell me why Trails to Azure is kind of a disappointing Trails game.
No,
okay,
hold on.
Not exactly like.
Not exactly.
Not even close.
You
want to start, or should I?
But y'all didn't think.
It didn't meet the expectation that I thought it would, but it's still like a 9.5 out of 10. It's like it's great.
Yeah, I think for both of us, this was the case that we played a 9 out of 10 that everyone called a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like I knew I knew everyone said Trails to Azure was considered the best Trails game ever made.
Yeah. So expectations were really high going in, especially after Zero, which was exceptionally good.
Yeah.
And yeah, SC. And I mean, Azure is still really good.
Yeah.
It does a lot of good stuff. Obviously, we're not really going to talk story because can't really go into that without spoilers, but needless to say, there are some really cool twists in Azure. There's a couple not so cool twists in Azure that I think is what kind of bogs some of it down.
Yeah, I agree. There's just a couple moments where I'm like, all right, sure, I'm just gonna move on from that. But the gameplay made a pretty. There was a pretty big shift in the. A pretty big shift. They added a new mechanic to the orbments.
Yes.
Is it the gimmick of this series that they gimmick something with the orbments? Because I played a few hours of SC, and the new trick is you could make certain alignments to make new spells, basically.
Well, that was in.
Yeah, that's in the
original.
That's a mainstay. It's Azure is I think the first that adds a massive new change to the orbment system with the master quartz being a thing, which is just a big. It's just a regular quartz, but it levels with you, and you get more stuff out of it. Which
so it's kind of like a skill tree, basically.
It's like a skill line, but you only get one.
Yeah, it has 5
character.
There's no. The customization is what master orb you put on what character. Right, because some will just inherently be more synergistic with them. You get a ton of orbal lines out of them, and they just in general really open up the door. So second chapter, this is the direct follow-up to Zero, so characters are starting with their 0 levels. And gameplay-wise, I thought this was a nice jump up from Zero in terms of difficulty, which was an extremely easy game.
I agree.
I played both this and Zero on hard. both of them I found to be, well, most of Azure and all of Zero, I found them to be easier than the Sky trilogy. Towards the end of Azure, they actually pulled out some fights I had to think about.
Yeah. Me too.
But, yeah, other than a couple, just, the bar was so high going in that, yeah, it wasn't met, but, like, did I like Azure a lot? Yeah.
Yeah, it's still one of my favorite games. It's not like it ruined the Trails series or anything. It was just like I don't think I find this as good as everyone else says it is. But that's okay, because it's still peak. It's still sick raw peak epic fire. You know?
I'm excited to get to the Crossbell duology personally.
They're great.
I love Crossbell.
I'm excited for when my Wi-Fi remains consistent.
Let's go. That's the day we will all have a parade.
Yeah. The characters are as lovely as ever.
Yeah.
In Azure as well.
With one character in particular, they was already great in Zero with a relatively minor role, and how they took that character and pushed him forward. Oh boy.
Yeah, gave him time to shine. Yeah, no, there's only one character that's like kind of mid, but
yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Since I haven't played this game, I won't piss off Trails fans, I guess. I
wonder if your favorite character appeared in Azure.
Oh my god. Okay. Anything else to say on Azure?
Not particularly. It would, if we ever do like a Crossbell cast, I think that would be a more appropriate time to go into full thoughts on Azure, because it's hard to talk without full spoilers.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot I would love to talk about with Azure, but I can't really do that without ruining everything.
So wait until I finish it, basically.
Just play it. Even everyone listening, just go play it. I play Zero first, and then play Azure. But I should play all the Trails games. It might end up
being your favorite Trails game to anyone out there who plays it. Everyone else loves it.
Yeah. Knack and I are just like stupid, I guess.
I do want to get more into Trails. It's just that I'm really busy recently. But yeah, I should put the Crossbow duology on my wish list, because I'm enjoying second chapter so far. Now that Protector's back, wanna hi-fi rush and hopefully he doesn't die.
Right.
Well, if the storm stops approaching, maybe that would help. But yeah, well, what, fuck, I'll just start from the top. We can edit the previous bit out anyways. So yeah. Akin to Metroid Prime Remastered, Hi-Fi Rush pretty much did the same thing, being at the Xbox Developer Direct of January in 2023. I was watching it with some friends, because why not? Had nothing better to do. Oh, and it was the one thing that managed to catch my eye.
Uh-oh.
Did he die again?
Oh no.
The world's like, he can't talk Hi-Fi Rush.
I think it's
time.
Oh, okay, he's back.
Oh, false alarm, I guess.
Oh.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
But yeah. The thing that really stood out to me first and foremost about Hi-Fi Rush was its art, its style. Obviously, cel-shaded anime-style games, things like it would probably catch anyone's eye, but what really impressed me was just the attention to detail. Because Hi-Fi Rush should have a game at a hack and slash, as in, to get the most out of your attacks, you literally have to time them to the beat. And the entire game has synced up to the music, as well. And when I say the entire game, I mean something as innocuous as Gasp that's coming out of pipes, hunting, flipping, up and down, literally anything you could think that can make a movement, and it will always be synced to the beat. And even just something as simple as grappling onto points and stuff, and it's honestly pretty impressive that the entire thing could be synced up to 2 different sounds. The development team's dedication to their craft really shows. They not only had to perfectly sync up everything to the beat of 1 soundtrack, they had to do it for 2 because, while the default soundtrack will contain a bunch of licensed songs from bands such as Nine Inch Nails, they do have an original soundtrack made that's a bit more streamer friendly, and the fact that they managed to get everything done pretty much perfectly with no real compromises is honestly quite the impressive piece of work. Everything in cutscenes means the gameplay is just a visual marvel, but I guess on that note, gameplay's pretty solid. It's yet another top-notch hack and slash, as just mentioned before, plenty of cool attacks, things to use, and even assistance from your friends should the situation call for it. I haven't got much to say on this because it has been a while since I played it, but the point is, it's really good. But I think what stood out most to me, besides just the sheer dedication to the visual craft, with the music theming, was the cast of characters in the adventure that was had. You play as resident guy failure, Chai, a 25 years old, college dropout, wannabe rock star, and rocking a broken arm, and eventually gets replaced with a cyborg arm, only to be intended with the fate of becoming some garbage man. But instead, because as the main villain, and K.O. Vandelay decide to be a careless dipshit, Chai's iPod, we'll just refer to it as such, ends up getting confused him in the process, and now his entire body is synced into the beat, and his garbage collection rod can now just collect a bunch of scrap metal to form into a guitar that can be used as a weapon, and from then on he's a target of the entire villain group, having to help an underground movement, and led by Peppermint, who we eventually find out to be also from the Vandelay family, as she's trying to claim the company back from her brother who's kind of gone off the deep end. And from there on, it's a pretty fun adventure of a colorful cast of characters. They're all pretty damn likable. Chai is obviously, the slacker, or seems to be a bit too full of himself, but over the course of the game, it is nice to see him actually grow and realize, hey, maybe I should remember that, I do have to put effort into chasing my dreams, and that no rock star is complete without a band. And it, villains were pretty solid too. Pretty wacky cast of characters, as all things considered. Shame I can't even remember half their names.
Rekka, Zanzo, Corsica, I forgot the 4th one,
The Funny Wolfman?
No, that's the 5th one.
4th one was the idol.
That's Wolfgang, and then there's Kale. The 4th one's the
the Vane one?
She's the one with the concert when you fight her.
Oh yeah. And another, I guess on that note,
Mimosa.
Yeah, Mimosa.
Yeah, Mimosa. In fact, I'm just gonna say this right now. Memorable characters in the name of the game here, and the bosses are an excellent showcase of this. Record's pretty entertaining as a first boss, as who wants to ensure a perfect production record in the factories, even if it means murdering defects. Hexa comes with all the hamminess of a pro wrestler, that you could think of. Even electrocutes herself just to get an edge on you. Oh, and it's pretty freaking nuts. To take him out. Because instead of actually confronting him and his giant fuck-off robot directly, you ultimately take him out by making him splurge so much that he ends up overspending on his budget and getting his funds completely shut off. This JoJo-ass character, he even does the JoJo thing when Chai first speaks to him. He'll manage to take him out without him being able to even throw so much as a punch at you without getting sent flying. And he's so much of an egotistical prick that he literally has a body pillow of himself. You heard it here first, folks. Korsica, I would not even consider a villain in the slightest, and, well, everyone's aware of it, seeming to be the only member of the villain lineup who actually has their head on straight and wants to do their job properly, and becomes one of your greatest allies. In fact, out of all of the good guys in the roster, she's my favorite, partially because of the fact that she got a pretty creative boss battle where you don't even actually fight her, you're just trying to talk things out, and weather the storm until she overexerts herself, and then you can be able to just knock her unconscious, and be able to, have things done. And then from there on, when she finds out that her boss is a total piece of shit, she joins up to help honestly one of the best assets in the game. And because of it, also, while her VA may not be Scottish, Korsica herself could be Scottish, and therefore has excellent rep for our country. Let's see, Mimosa, she's the sheer vanity on that woman is something else, but dear God, did it lead to one of the best set pieces in the game, where you actually fight her on her own stage in the middle of her concert, and the further the fight goes, the more the crowd starts chanting Chai's name, and once she's done and dusted, Chai gets to finally experience what it's like to be a rock star, having an entire crowd chanting his name, and the look on his face, he has never been happier in his entire life. Brought a massive smile, not to my face at least. It was pretty endearing. And Wolfgang? Terrifying as fuck. You don't want to mess with an old man that could just turn into a giant mecha wolf. That's basically like the Hulk, as in, get him angrier and he's just gonna keep coming back for more. That man's tenacity is something else, and dear God, the transformation into that wolf form and the design itself, absolutely peak. And really funny that he just ended up getting his ass kicked, by the very thing he was in charge of the most, the money. And then last but not least, Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean Chris Redfield. I mean Ezio Auditore. I mean K.O. Vandelay. Piece of shit all throughout. Even if he had no intention of controlling the world with his mind control project, and instead just wanted to use it to try and, stop people from being so fickle with what they want so that he can run his business better, that's still just... no. But he's the perfect kind of despicable villain that you just want to beat the shit out of, especially once he manages to pull the mind control thing on Chai, and you even get to play as the pet cat 808, to free Chai, and then from then on, it's you and your friends, versus what's honestly one of the coolest final bosses I've seen in recent years. Yes, I'm sorry if a lot of this sounds vague, because I haven't really gone through it all that recently, but I just really loved the cast of characters. They were a huge part of it. Well, and by it, I mean what made the game so appealing to begin with. And I especially liked, all the arcs that went on, primarily with Chai and Peppermint. The former, obviously, learning to, not be as much of a slacker, and, put effort into attaining his dream, and, how Peppermint finally getting to reunite with her mother, save the company, and now have her own group of friends, is that she's not nearly as irate around. Even outright confessing to Chai that she does trust him no matter what. And it's been an integral to the team getting through that darkest hour. And I guess on that note, I should probably talk about the writing. Let's just say that people who were upset that Forspoken wasn't doing well were trying to use Hi-Fi Rush's writing as leverage against it, because it's like, oh, it has the exact same writing as this other game, so why doesn't it get flagged? Well, I'll tell you this right now. Hi-Fi Rush knows it's more or less a lighthearted romp. Like, it's a feel-good game. You're here for a fun ride. It is very clearly, tonally at least, not trying to be like uber serious or whatever, and thus it can get away with some of the more eyebrow-raising moments whenever they tried to pull something like an that just happened. Although, if you ask me, that kind of writing was much more prevalent in its reveal trailer, more so than in the game itself. There's a decent bit of actually genuinely funny moments with how everyone bounces off of each other, and that's pretty cool. Helped especially by the voice acting, and well, let's just say that the little gag they made about Kale having the same voice actor as a bunch of other characters did have a purpose, because, yup, Roger Craig Smith is back again. You can never escape him. Ever. He's everywhere. But we also got plenty of other big names. Although the only one I can remember in the cast besides Roger is Erica Lindbeck as Peppermint, so yeah. But everyone gave her a pretty good performance, and games also got plenty of content too, not just in the base game with the challenge rooms that even have their own mini-story, that leaves room for a sequel, but also all the post-launch stuff like a Bloody Palace mode, a bunch of alternate costumes, this, that, and that. It really has a lot to offer, and also, forgot to mention, but there's quite a bit of customizability with your gameplay as well, with what kind of passive perks you can equip alongside an ultimate finishing move of your choosing, such as the Starting Power Chord, which remains good from beginning to end, or a quick heal. Basically, a lot of things really. I kind of wish I could speak about this in more detail, but that's what happens when it's been a whole year since I last played it. But it was a genuinely magical experience from beginning to end. And so much that it convinced me right then and there, this is the one. This is the game of 2023. Nothing else can compare. Even if I do get around to them and think they're great. Like, I know I'm going to be playing Resident Evil 4 Remake at some point, but rest assured, it's not being Hi-Fi Rush. Not for me, at least. And Tango Gameworks should be incredibly proud of what they've accomplished. And hey, for those that don't have a pretty good PC or an Xbox, the game might be coming to Switch and PlayStation soon enough. Although, they're gonna have to work a miracle to make it run and look as good as it does as on Xbox when porting it to Switch. But hey, if they manage to accomplish that and give it a physical release, I'm buying.
I kind of wish this game got a physical release because I am obsessed
Me too.
with Hi-Fi Rush.
Like, I love it so much, and I'm pissed off that I can't just buy a physical copy with amazingly drawn box art and put it on a shelf as a pride and joy of my Xbox collection.
Maybe for lucky, limited run games can make one.
No, absolutely not. Like, they're already charging up the wall for a second release of the 3DS or, say, Pirate's Curse. I don't think they need to get their hands on Hi-Fi Rush.
But Hi-Fi Rush is kind of the game... Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush is kind of the game that literally came out of nowhere, and...
It came out of nowhere and fucking slayed. Because, again, this thing outperformed Forspoken, which had so much more advertising and PR leading up to its release, and then Hi-Fi Rush, which just came out of nowhere, said, hold my beer, and then just has destroyed Forspoken. You know, it wasn't even a competition.
It just naded on that dance floor.
Wouldn't surprise me. Chai's probably got some decent moves in addition into some growing skills as a rock star, because in the post-credits, we actually see that he's actually taking the time to practice guitar skills. In fact, that ending shot where everyone's just sitting on the sunset, a covered hill, and while Chai's playing on the guitar, I have that as my background on my Series X, and you know what? I don't think I'll change it to anything else. This is perfect.
I think my favorite Chai's literally me. Like I've been playing the game a bit.
You will never be him.
I know I'll never be him, but the way he acts, I'm like, is Chai autism coded? Because that's how I act.
I mean, to be honest, someone like him could easily be neurotypical as well. Like, come on, being a slacker does not mean, oh wow, you're autistic or have something else going on in your head. Nah, you could also just be quote unquote normally wired or something like that. I don't fucking know.
I will say, I think my favorite aspect of the game is actually the comedy, because even today, I'm still laughing at some scenes I think about all the time. Like the part where it's just like, I don't need a guitar. I am a rock star. I thought you said you didn't need a guitar. Yeah, but this one looks cooler. Like that part slays me all the time. They nailed the physical comedy in Hi-Fi Rush. Like that shit's like Looney Tunes.
That was
funny.
on top. And another thing on that note, really love the transitions in the cutscenes and gameplay where you go from 3D to 2D, and you can't even tell the difference immediately. Like, the transition is so smooth. I swear that this was the exact same visual style and not just swapped to something pre-rendered.
Yeah. I also really love the bosses. Like, I know, Kibbs, one of your problems with this game was the bosses, but I thought, with the exception of probably Mimosa was kind of annoying to deal with. I thought all the bosses were great to fantastic.
Honestly, Mimosa was one of the highlights for me, if partially because of the set piece and just everything going on culminating in the fight's end that I already mentioned earlier.
I just wasn't a super big fan. Honestly, like, I don't think the combat was anything that blew me out of the water, or just like, it was crazy, because it's just like fighting to a rhythm, and once you get the rhythm, you got the game down, and it was something I caught on to pretty quickly. I love me a good rhythm game, but it felt like I was going through the motions. I'm not gonna dwell on this game too much. I found it a little disappointing on the whole. I still think it's good, but
that's funny, because for me, it's the opposite, where I am rhythmically incompetent. So I never got
I watched
100%.
I remember I watched you play one of the chapters. I was like, good God.
Yeah, no, I am, but I love character action games. So that part of the game did a lot for me.
Yeah.
Because
character action. I thought we were talking about a hack and slash.
Right. Anyways, so with this, right? So earlier in our catch up, right? I was pretty nice to Bayonetta 3. This is times better than Bayonetta 3. This game, I think I'm at the point where I would put BG3 above it, but for a while this was my favorite original release of 2023. I've only done one playthrough. I believe it was on I think it was just called hard mode. I don't remember. Did it on that. Had a good time. I want to go back and do some of the post-game stuff, but just moved on to other games, so I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I get that. Especially, when you've already got so much else on your plate that you kind of want to try and get more stuff off of the backlog. At the very least, the game's been getting more content over the past year, so you will have a lot to sink your teeth into, especially if you buy the digital deluxe edition for some extra bonuses. But yeah, also, should also be noted, even though Knack is, as he has said himself, rhythmically challenged when it comes to rhythm games, Hi-Fi Rush has a bunch of accessibility options to help allow people who aren't necessarily pros at rhythm games help with this. In fact, the little gadget that shows a visual indicator of what the beat's supposed to be was plenty enough for me to adjust as to how Hi-Fi played, and you know what? Again, really good on the devs. Like, the sheer amount of polish that this game had cannot be understated.
I remember thinking at face value that combining a hack and slash in a rhythm game was kind of a bit iffy. But thinking about it over the past year, it's just kind of they have so much more in common than I thought, because because obviously rhythm games has rhythm, but hack and slashes there's a certain rhythm to it that you don't feel because you're so in sync with the game, with the combat of a hack and slash.
Whose college final was to attempt to make a rhythm action game. It is very funny how this game ended up just being kind of everything that we wanted and couldn't do. So
yeah,
I found that particularly funny.
But yeah, you're right though, Aiden. It's like, this feels like a much more natural fusion than most people would have thought at first, especially when you consider, you know, games like the Devil May Cry series, which even since the beginning did require you until you can achieve different combos. So it's like, you know, instead of a basic free hit slash from Rebellion, and Dante pauses after the first one, twirls around, and then does a million stab afterwards. You know, that kind of thing. In that sense, Hi-Fi isn't too far removed, but it puts so much more emphasis on the rhythm.
I was surprised at how many combos there were in Hi-Fi, actually. Like, I remember going to the combo
I
shop.
think Hi-Fi is kind of on the lower end, which is something
it's on the lower end. Like, yeah, on the lower end.
Compared to something like Bayonetta, right, where you've got like.
I mean, to be honest, that's what happens when you've only got one weapon to work with. It's kind of like the Werehog in Sonic Unleashed, where all Sonic really has in that form are his long, stretchy arms and the cleats, and that's really all he's got. He doesn't suddenly whip out swords, or bow staffs, or guns. It's literally just that. Chai's only other option besides his guitar usually involves either maybe at least one attack with 808, and then some assistance from Peppermint, and Macaron, and Corsica.
I will say, with the lower number of combos, one thing I did appreciate is this has always been one of my issue with the Bayonetta games that I didn't really feel with this, is just when there's so many different combos, obviously they all have their own utility. I find it harder to experiment and figure out what's good and what to use in what situations, whereas with this, by the end, I had a pretty good idea of what combo to use in what situation, and I really appreciate that.
I think
just when you've got a lot of those long strings, I find it's difficult to memorize all of them. So them being able to parse what's doing what helps a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, Hi-Fi Rush. I used to think it's just my game of the year for a while, and then 4 other games came out. But no, I still think this is like one of the best games that come out of last year, and I'm excited to make a video on it because I love it to death. But anything else we need to say on Hi-Fi Rush?
I think that's it.
Other than buy it now.
I think we've
no, not really
engaged with everything.
Please let me speak about my Colgate Queen.
Finally, we're gonna talk about the Colgate Pepsi people.
I love Alaire so much. Her design is fine. Everyone's just a coward. I don't get it.
I just think the hair, it just clashes to me. Like, I don't hate the male design. I'm just not a big fan of the female one.
Girl Alaire is so much better.
I agree, 1000%.
She looks like She looks like she deserves to get bullied, and I appreciate her.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Have you looked at her hair?
Listen, man, if she wants to have her hair be literal red and blue, that's her choice. No one.
Yeah, and it's everyone who's with her's choice to react to it appropriate.
All right.
She looks like a little dork.
Well, I mean, never mind. I'm not.
No, do it. Do it. Whatever it is, do it.
It's not really her choice for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. She looks fine though. I love the hair. Like, I love the eyes, and her design's perfect. everyone's crazy. Everyone was dunking on it, and I don't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't want to engage with that conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Engage.
Ooh, she's
Engage.
got a
But,
fire
ring on that
design.
one.
But yeah, guys, we're talking about Fire Emblem. We're talking about Fire Emblem Engage. And me and Kids are interested to hear more about Knack talk about this game.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
starting with me.
I
All
can
right.
break down why you're so horrifically wrong.
When Fire Emblem Engage was first announced, I was like, I don't like this. No, come on, guys. And then, the context came out. It's an anniversary game. Whatever, sure. And then the game actually comes out. People are liking it. They're saying the gameplay is real good. They're saying the story is fun for what it is. So I'm like, alright, I'll check it out. And you know what? We'll start with the positives. The most important aspect of the game, the maps and the combat, both done real well. I cannot deny that this is some real fun Fire Emblem gameplay. If I were to finish it, I might even say it was my favorite in terms of pure gameplay. Between all the new additions, the new break system was kind of silly. Liked that. They made Armor Knights good. That's pretty cool. The stuff with the emblem rings was fun. All that was fine and good. So people were saying, it's like a Saturday morning cartoon. Turn your brain off, you'll have a good time with it. They're all wrong.
If you turn your brain off, you'll
They're all wrong.
No.
Listen, everyone's allowed to like what they like. I felt like I was getting a lobotomy during every single game.
Yeah, I actually can't really fight you on that.
I wanted to go in and at least see if I could get some value, okay, the characters are fun. I'm sorry. It does not work for me. And even the characters that I felt they were trying to do more with. All right, I'm about to do something real mean. All right.
No.
So you remember how we talked about Tales games and subtlety?
Yeah.
I'm about to talk about Fire Emblem Engage and subtlety.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I'm gonna go in swinging with this one. All right.
Here's the Knack chapter, y'all. Here's the Knack chapter.
I gotta talk about Yunaka for a second.
Oh no!
That's right. I'm coming in hard. So on the whole, I like Yunaka. I actually think she is one of the better characters in this game. But I think her debut cutscene kind of just exemplifies everything where I'm like, all right, Engage, come on. So we've got Yunaka, right? She's, I'm going to go a little bit into her character, if that's all good, for the sake of my example here.
Go right
She's
ahead.
the, on the surface, cheery thief character. But, she's hiding that deeper past, right? So she's kind of wearing the mask, and I typically like that type of character. They really wanted you to know that about her going in. So, her first cutscene, if I'm remembering correctly, it's been a while. Feel free to call me out if I'm getting this wrong, because I haven't fact-checked this. But I have been thinking about this example specifically. So maybe I should have looked the scene up. Whatever. It's her, going to steal a ring, la-di-da-di-da. She's all happy. You guys meet her, and then someone says something, and then within a minute of meeting her, she has the first mask slip moment where her eyes get dark, the peppy voice goes away, and she's like, yeah, if you've seen the things I'd have, you'd know. And I'm like, all right, come on. I kind of want to work to that character. I don't want that in the first minute. And all her supports I did are like that too, where it's everyone always catches her mid mask slip. So I get it. It's a more fun type of writing, or not more fun. They're being sillier, they're being goofier.
Yeah.
Characters. I know I have heard that if you get through all the supports, you can see that there's more to these characters than just the tropes. But the tropes are just so aggressive, I'm sorry. The character Fram. Oh, Fram. Within minutes talking about
fuck Fram, honestly.
Divine Dragon fan club? Are you sweating? Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that.
Fram,
I'm
gonna have to
sorry.
give you a dose of reality check.
just-
You're a child.
There's just very little story-wise I got out of this game. And then that kind of goes into... I found the base sections to be particularly draining, which is what ultimately kind of led me to dropping this game. And maybe I'll go back and just try to get through those faster, but part of this is an issue with how I played the game, which is, I only had like 2-3 hours to do a play session of it at night, but I'd get maybe a map in, and then a lot of base, and I'd reach a point where it's like, well, I finished my base stuff, but if I want to start another map, that's going to push past the time I have, so I'll stop here, and just kind of leaving my sessions feeling unsatisfied. So, yeah. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
think another
currently
thing...
an engaged disliker, but I do want to go back and try to revisit it at some point and at least finish it, because I do think it deserves that, regardless of my issues with it right now.
Yeah, by like on all accounts, regarding like the writing, engage is something I should also hate. Just because everything it does, like you're right, you're just right about it, but it's just silly. And to me that just was enough. And but no, I totally get someone being like, I want real characters because this is Fire Emblem where there's usually real characters. But the gameplay was so good, and I liked the characters like base personalities enough, and I found them silly enough that I was just like, it's a Saturday morning cartoon, and I love it for that,
I kept on saying the story is like 4 kids. It's like the 4 kids junk food, and that's how I always saw it.
Yeah.
And to be clear, right, there is nothing wrong with enjoying these characters. I think power to you.
I liked Alchrist.
Honestly, I think it also could be all of their designs go so incredibly hard.
They kind of do, yeah.
I love all of them. I really wanted to cut in when you were talking about Yunaka and be like, okay, yeah, I hear you. Counterpoint, she's pretty.
Oh no, her design, great. And like I said, I actually do still think she's one of the better of the bunch. She just also, that scene is like everything I feel. If I'm remembering it correct, I could be making stuff up. I could be slandering Engage, but it's fine.
There's
it could be what?
I've liked the characters a lot more since I played the game. Because there's a Twitter account. I don't know what the name of their account is, but they just post videos of the Fire Emblem Engage characters dancing to the song California Girls, and I see it like every like 2 or 3 days, and it always makes my day. And I'm like, I like seeing all these funny videos make my brain rot. It's just.
This is like your sensory video.
Exactly.
Time to put Kibbs to bed tonight. Put on Fire Emblem Engage California Girls.
Exactly. It's so funny. I love it. No, but the gameplay
is unforgettable.
The gameplay in Engage is the best I think the series has to offer. Especially after coming from Three Houses gameplay. I'm a Three Houses hater, I just gotta say that. I was not a big fan of the maps there. I felt too many maps were like just used repeatedly within the game.
Fire Emblem fans, link in the description to his Twitter.
Oh yeah, true. Send all your hate. I
do need to establish, because the allegations are going to be there. Yes, I'm a Three Houses enjoyer.
No.
I made my listen. I came in today with the mental note that I am not going to make any comparisons because I think that's unfair, and they're both games going for very different things. So I don't think it's fair to fully compare it. But
no, that's fair. I'm using this as like a way to frame like where I was when Engage came out, because basically Three Houses wasn't. Yeah, you get me.
Yeah, I get you.
Three Houses wasn't exactly what I wanted to be, because I loved Fire Emblem first and foremost for the gameplay. And
I think the story adds on to Fire Emblem as a overall package, where I think the main focus is the gameplay. I feel.
I think it can really depend on the game. But I think
with that. I can go either way with this series.
Yeah. It's yeah. So I was not super big on Three Houses gameplay. So when Engage came out, and there was everything that they just kind of did with the emblem rings, with the more tactical, that sounds weird, approach. I felt like I actually had to engage my brain. I didn't mean to make that joke.
I will straight up give you that it is better as a strategy game. Like wholeheartedly, Three Houses is a JRPG wearing a strategy game skin.
Yeah.
And there was the moment. If you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. That's like that is my favorite thing that's happened in Fire Emblem just ever, and it blew my mind.
Fortunately, spoiled on that. Even me with my cold heart.
Can you DM me what can you DM me what the moment is? Because I think I have an idea of what it is.
You played
it was far enough for me to play it.
I finished all of it.
Okay. I'm gonna DM you real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Lost
I love Engage.
This moment is.
But
I don't want to say it for all the people at home.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh my god! That moment, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, it's just. I'm not even gonna go into it. I'm just gonna.
And man, if I cared about the story, that moment would have hit even harder.
Yeah, no, there's I don't know this. I don't know why the story works.
Even as someone that relatively does not enjoy the story, I thought that was exceptionally well done.
Yeah,
narratively, like that specific slice.
Yeah,
I will say I love Engage. It was so good. It's really good, but there were a few maps. There was a few maps, especially at the end, where I was like, "This is not a good." Like the map where you're fighting against a certain villain, and like the snowstorms push you back, so you have to be behind rocks. Like I just found that annoying first and foremost. I found the volcano level is very tedious to travel through. It's mostly just some endgame maps I was just not a big fan of.
The more gimmicky ones.
Yeah, the more gimmicky ones. Especially the one with the rising tides. That one was really annoying.
Oh, I love that map.
For reference, actually, just so you all have an idea, I got to the Sand Kingdom, and I think I finished that before I stopped.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Oh, I also played the DLC. I didn't like it.
No, all Fire Emblem fans I talk to don't like the DLC.
There's a couple of my buddies really enjoyed the DLC, and I ripped it to shreds when I went through it. And I feel really bad about that.
I also want to say there's a story moment. Like, yeah, it's fucking for kids, the story for me. But there is a thing that is, I would call a Deus Ex Machina that I was just like, why did they do this?
Deus Ex Machina on Fire Emblem? No.
Yeah, no, I
mean, Fire Emblem's well known for Deus Ex Machina moments, but this one was like, this is just kind of a story decision, I feel. I
can't even lie, that entire sequence had me grinning from ear to ear, just the dumbest smile on my face. It just worked. It just works for me. I don't know why. By all accounts, Engage should, like, story-wise and writing-wise should suck. And it does. But it works for me, and I don't know why. It's just like, what is it?
Well, it is funny, because as I've got to know you better, and you have told me, like, criticisms of some specific things, there have been a few moments where I haven't said it, but in my head I'm like, but a lot of this applies to Engage. You love Engage.
Yeah, you were 100% correct. I don't get it myself. It just works.
No, but I've had the same thing where I've had to think about some of my criticisms with this game, because I'm like, but those also apply to Three Houses, but I like Three Houses.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Yeah, that's just the state of a Fire Emblem fan, honestly. That's just how it is.
Oh. But no, Engage, really, really good. If you love the gameplay of Fire Emblem, this is probably going to be one of your favorite Fire Emblems. But if you're if you're not a fan of the story, you're probably not gonna like this.
Yeah, I just wish the story was more engaging. Listen, I don't know what it is. Like I was able to get through Conquest, no problem.
You got through Conquest. Oh God, that's not the worst one.
Conquest, you go to a base, you're done with your base in like 5 minutes. I think that was part of it.
As long as it's not Revelation.
And you got to go talk to your party members, and you could like pet them or whatever.
Only in the Japanese
version. Was that only in the Japanese version?
In the American, you just kind of watch them do their thing, and it's real strange.
It's so weird.
So it's creepy either way.
I mean, to be honest, if they were gonna remove the petting, they should have removed those bits entirely.
No, honestly, I agree. Go all the way.
Yeah, it was just so strange.
Fire Emblem Fates is a podcast in of itself, I feel.
I love Fire Emblem.
Well, the three of you can manage that on your own.
I'd love to talk about Fates at a separate time.
I would too.
I actually love that game.
I love that game too. Let's go.
Okay.
Which one, though?
Conquest mostly, but Birthright was fine. I never played Revolution.
I played Birthright because the idea of the people that killed my fucking family members just doesn't work whatsoever.
Yeah, but if you considered I want to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Or how about
sometimes you just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, we'll just start talking about all the Fire Emblems now.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, okay. It's probably for the better.
Yeah. Okay, next is Kibbs. Did you play Pizza Tower?
I played it for like an hour, and like I wasn't a big fan. Honestly, part of it was kind of skill issue, but the other part was arthritis.
Arthritis.
I physically
skill issue.
Pizza Tower. I physically cannot play Pizza Tower, but also if I played it, I don't think I would enjoy it too much.
This is one of the
Fire Emblem of Wario Land games.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, this is one of the more disappointing games for me this year with Tears of the Kingdom. Like I was in a server. I'm still in that server, but they were like gassing up Pizza Tower hardcore, like one of the best 2D platformers. And I had interest in it. Like it looked charming enough. Like the whole MS Paint look to it. I don't know if that's the right word I should use, but it looks like MS Paint. But the more I got through it, the more I was like, it's a good platformer, but there's it's your Wario Land kind of 2D platformer. You're going to a certain point in the level, and then you have a timer to head all the way back.
That's a Wario Land 4 exclusive gimmick. The previous 3 games in that series didn't really have a timer like that.
I need to play 4. That's the only Wario Land I have.
I played Wario Land.
Me neither. But I just found so many aspects of Pizza Tower to be kind of, like I think the controls are good. I think the level design, once you're like in a certain flow, they can be they're fun. Like it's a fast-paced platformer. I love my fast-paced platformers. But then we get to the more disappointing aspects. I think the bosses were such a low point. Like, sure, you could taunt to like use taunt to counter the attacks. I'm pretty sure. I know you could dodge them by taunting, but I don't know if you could counter. I heard you could counter, but they were just so slow because it's one of those bosses where you wait. It's like the Sonic Superstars bosses where you have to wait a long time before you get it hidden, and it's just really boring after a while. Wait, Kibbs, how far did you make it into the Pizza Tower?
I got to the first boss. I don't remember if I beat it or not.
The arthritis was like, nope, you can't do this anymore.
Yeah, no, I had to stop. I refunded it because I knew I wouldn't enjoy it. First off, like I probably would think it's fine if I just played it on its own. But I was like, I have super weak like wrists and like joints and stuff. I sound like I'm an old man. I'm like 24. So, and I have to wear compression gloves if I'm gonna play games for long periods of time, or else I'll literally die. So it's, yeah, I was like, even if I would enjoy this game, I wouldn't be able to give it a fair shake. Like literally, physically unable to.
Maybe fair enough. I even found the soundtrack disappointing. Like everyone was gassing up the soundtrack as well. I'm like, I like It's Pizza Time because it's a catchy, upbeat song, and it kind of incentivizes you need to make your way back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And there were just some levels that I was just not a fan of. There are some gimmicks that are just really pace breaking. There's a level where you can turn into a ghost and you can travel through cheese graters. And it's just the ghost. It's funny, but the ghost is just so slow. And then there's like moments where you have to take a taxi in the city level, and like you have to watch the same cutscene of going through a taxi. And it's just, it's. I did like the final. There's a level where you go through fucking World War and you have to hold a gun. I'm not joking. It was like the biggest total shift. It's the biggest total shift ever because it's like you could just beat a level that's like you golfing and it's just, oh, it's time for fucking war. Get your gun and blast them away.
Classic, honestly.
Yeah. Like, I don't have much to say. It's a 2D platformer. Like, there's not much to it, I feel. Like, there are your typical gimmicks that 2D platformers need to have that either make or break it, but I don't know. I liked it. I'd say it's good, but I wouldn't say it's at all. It's just not for me. Maybe I need to play Wario Land 4 and replay it to fully cement if I'm into that kind of platformer, but it was just not clicking me as with others. And Kibbs, you had arthritis.
Yeah, I'm just unable to play the game.
I wanna play this. I love Wario Land 3. That's like a big childhood game for me. I haven't played the others as much, and I still have yet to get around to 4. But I do want to check this out at some point.
I think you'd like it, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay, that's Pizza Tower. Hey, you two want to we love Katamari?
All right, so I'm gonna take the lead on this one.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So earlier, I said, I was between Baldur's Gate 3 and
Hi-Fi.
Hi-Fi Rush is my favorite original release of 2023. Well, that's because my overall favorite game, period, to come out this year was without a doubt the GOAT. We love Katamari. So I love Katamari. We love Katamari. Katamari is so good.
No,
Katamari
I don't.
Shut up. Katamari is gaming bliss, in my opinion. It is a head empty, roll your frickin' ball. I played the first one a couple years ago. Really liked it. Always wanted to play the sequel, because everyone's like, this one's even better than the first one. And I kid you not, like, I think a month before this got announced, I had downloaded, well, I guess I should say a file titled We Love Katamari. It was on my computer. I don't know what it did because I never opened it, but it was there. And then they announced that it was getting the reroll. So I'm like, all right, I'll just play that instead. Surely this file was just a normal text file that didn't do nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Neither that Xenosaga folder doesn't mean anything either. Anyways, so I finally played this, and yeah, this is just an even better version of the first one with some cool gimmicks, and it makes me happy. I love Katamari a lot.
How does this compare to Damacy?
So right off the bat, I think it feels a little bit better to control. Most notably, I think executing a dash just feels way better in this game. That was something I struggled with a lot in the first one. Yeah. It felt like you really had to get in there with flicking those sticks. Whereas with this one, I could chain dashes together. So that already makes the game a lot more fun. And I feel the gimmicks are just stronger this time around. So the original Katamari, right, you've got your standard hit this size type mission, and then you've got the constellation missions, which were more gimmicky, like collect the biggest cow, collect the biggest bear, yada yada yada. We Love has a lot less hit this specific size missions because it just gets crazy with its gimmicks. And when it does have a you get big mission, it gets real big. This game's like final level in particular. I think I've played like 20 times since it came out.
I think like the game, like I know the big thing about Katamari in the final levels is that like you roll up like galaxies and like you give them.
So
you just
this
roll
one,
up galaxies.
so in the
right?
original game, it was you're rolling up to make the moon.
Oh wow.
So this one is interesting because yeah, your overarching goal is to like recreate the solar system, if I remember correctly.
What the fuck?
So there, or no, my bad. Your objective is to roll up the sun in this game because someone wants you to do that. But that is a mission that you can kind of come back to because as you make the Katamaris, that creates planets that you can roll up in that specific mission. So once you've done enough missions, you can roll up the sun. But what I sort of more consider to be the final level is just the biggest, like, reach this size, which starts with you in a small town, and eventually you're rolling up the entirety of planet Earth. And that level is so fun. And it even has a cool objective that I've come really close to, but I kind of stopped practicing, where, big spoilers, but if you can get big enough, which is like 4 times the goal, you can roll up the king himself.
That sounds funny.
I love this game. The music in Katamari goes so hard. I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
This is like actually stuff that I'll listen to outside of it. I love Katamari. All right, I've said enough.
Yeah. I played Katamari Damacy Reroller, the remake of the other one, like a year or two ago. And I had a blast with it. My hands hated me. It's not it. I don't know if I just learned how to control the game better when I played through We Love Katamari, or if it just controls better. But I had a far easier time, even like a year later. It could be a mix of both, yeah. Dashing is easier. I literally didn't do that. Literally just wasn't a thing I'd do in the first game. And this one, I did it all the time. And it was really easy. I was able to do it somewhat consistently. I still had a little bit of problems with it, but nothing crazy. The game's just fun. I don't have anything else to really say about it. It's just kind of a blast. It's a weird, mindless kind of, well, semi-mindless game. Gimmick levels were actually fun in this one. I enjoyed it more than the first one. It's just more Katamari.
There's a level where you do a race, and that race is so silly.
It's so funny. I love that one. That one is one of my favorites. I like the one with the origami cranes. That one.
That's a good one. Yeah, where you're going through the classroom. That school level's really cool.
It's so hard to get all of them. I had a blast with it. It's so much fun. I don't know. It's just the simple need to roll everything up, you know.
I'm just surprised they're just re-releasing the old stuff when the last time we got a new one was back in 2011.
Well, there are a lot of people that I know. The drama in the Katamari community. All right, let's get in there. There's a lot of people that only swear by the first two because those were the only ones that the original director did. And in fact, We Love Katamari, he didn't want to make a sequel, which is why We Love Katamari's plot is about basically we're doing Katamari again, and it's kind of cynical about it because they really didn't want to do it, so they turned that into the story of like basically the king is trying to chase the success of Katamari 1 again.
That's so meta.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, and you get the king storyline. The king storyline is so good.
Oh. It's funny. I like the cutscenes that play in between a lot of things.
Well, the king's lore.
It's so good.
That's so funny. I need to play the original. I have it on Steam. I just haven't touched it yet. But
it's good, but if anyone is like thinking, do they have to play the first one first? Nah.
Probably not. No, it doesn't seem like.
Although you should listen to the first game's soundtrack, 'cause that's really nah, it's all about that lonely rolling star.
So good.
Sister, we're talking about games you two played. Only you two. Dokapon Kingdom Connect.
Oh, this is fun. I'm pretty sure we're on like complete opposite ends of the spectrum with this one.
Sure are.
I adore this game. It's so mean.
I want to play it with you two someday.
I don't think I'm ever gonna go back to this game ever again. Not gonna lie. It's not even that like.
So funny enough, you were the one that got me to get this game.
That's true. I told all my friends to get it because I trusted my friends. Don't do that, guys. It's a bad idea. It led me to Dokapon Kingdom.
No, it worked for me. It led me to Dokapon Kingdom.
my buddies said it was something that they played in like high school, and I was like, you know what? That sounds pretty exciting. You know, it's like RPG party game. What could go wrong?
Everything.
Yeah, it was basically everything for me. I had fun. I would say I generally had fun. My first go around, it's just there were a lot of like lulls where it was like I'm just kind of playing the game, but like in the background of hanging out with my friends, which I was like, yeah, I'll take any excuse to hang out with friends. Like it's great. And so it was kind of a background thing for me, but there was a second playthrough that I was doing that it felt like every session someone was upset. And part of it's Dokapon Kingdom's fault because it's a rather mean-spirited game. It like just with how it functions.
So it's Mario Party on steroids.
I'm okay
It's so much meaner.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with someone going Darkling mode and saying, I'm gonna delete everything that you have. You have nothing now. I'm cool with that. Some of the people I played with were not cool with that. We made a couple gentleman rules. It's like, we're not gonna do this. And it's like, yeah, it's fine. But even with that set in place, there were a lot of times where people would be like genuinely upset about something, and most sessions would end in like with people being frustrated. And I'm just like, I just want to play games with friends, man. That's what I'm here for.
That is the big caveat of Dokapon, right? Especially because Dokapon, doing an actual run of Dokapon is an undertaking.
It takes like months from what I've heard from you two, or like weeks.
It's about like a 40-50 hour run.
Jesus Christ.
No, it is definitely like the game definitely has things where people's feelings can get hurt if there is not kind of an understanding up front. Because the game encourages you to be a little cutthroat, a lot of cutthroat, and that is not going to gel for every group. I would recommend for anyone that is on the fence, maybe playing like the classic mode or something and getting a feel for it first. The lower stakes, like you could do like a 10 week mode, and like a week in the game typically lasts about like an hour. So that's still a while, but it's not the full like long session that you're committing to. Because that's the other thing too, is that this is a game where I definitely recommend, if you're playing with newcomers, make sure you're explaining things to them, because this is a game where knowledge advantages are huge in this game. And if someone could basically be going for like a win condition turn 1, and like if you don't know what their strategy is, you may not have a chance to respond to it, because juggling short-term and long-term in Dokapon is difficult. It's interesting how they do it, but resources come and go super fast. So you may think you have a lead, only to get everything torn from you.
Yeah. Which...
Yeah, I've seen the kind of bullshit that comes from RNG and Dokapon. Especially once you turn into that weird demon fiend, and then all hell breaks loose.
What?
You have to trade like everything to do
If
that.
you use your IRL confidence to influence the RNG, as I have done to Kibbs and I's friend Brayden when he was trying to kill me, it can be really funny when I just keep saying you'll miss and he keeps missing.
So funny.
The power of the RNG gods will be with me.
Yeah, basically.
It's gonna crash and burn on me one day, but
It's gonna crash and burn on you with Lethal Company one day.
I like Dokapon a lot, but it does come with some big caveats of like, know who you're playing with.
Yeah.
You know, be prepared, right? Like,
Yeah.
Be prepared for their feelings to get more than hurt.
Oh, be prepared. That song from The Lion King.
That probably is Dokapon. Like Dokapon basically is Mufasa in that
yeah.
scene.
Scar would love. I mean, Scar.
Yeah, sorry, Scar.
Yeah, Scar would love this game.
Yeah, no, Dokapon, how entertaining you find it really depends on the group that you're playing with. I still think the gameplay's kind of like on the shallow end. I think too much is determined by RNG. But I would like to see a second one that relies less on RNG.
Funny enough, this is actually like a whole series. I don't know if you've ever really looked into Dokapon
Is it?
before.
Not
yeah, no, there's
really.
been several of these. But most are Japanese exclusives. I think aside from this, and I think maybe the DS one came over here back in the day.
Dokapon. Is it just like the Dokapon series, or is it Dokapon Kingdom?
There's like Dokapon Journey, Dokapon Connect, but like a lot. I think they are all basically kind of iterations of the same idea.
Oh, there's a lot. Whoa. There's like 10.
Like it dates back
That's
to like
crazy.
the SNES.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
And like Kingdom itself was a PS2 game, then a Wii game, and then the remake that we got now.
Huh.
I know that the Dokapon Dokapon Kingdom didn't sell all that well.
No, but I was also in a case where like one of my managers at work loved Dokapon in his college days, so he was telling a bunch of us to get it too. So I have an on-pause game with some of my work friends.
Nice.
That's funny.
Dang.
And we've got the rule of every session is a fresh start, you know. No no lingering feelings.
I want to pick up this game to see the pure insanity of it.
Well, let's put it this way. If Mario Party is known for ruining friendships, Dokapon Kingdom commits genocide on friendships.
Well, the thing is like Mario Party, right, is like an instant burst of hatred. Dokapon is a slow seed of resentment.
It's like
Dokapon
Dokapon is like dripping oil on the fire.
You really have to be able to separate like game from actual friendship stuff.
Yeah.
It's like there's a couple of my friends, I can just absolutely slaughter them in any game whatsoever. I could go out of my way to target them, and then afterwards we'll be like, wasn't that funny? I'll be like, that was pretty funny. Remember when this happened? It's like that's the kind of relationship you gotta have with people playing Dokapon.
Hey, wasn't that time I accidentally killed you with RNG?
Yeah, you gotta have there has to be no hard feelings, or there's a chance that Dokapon will ruin friendships.
Yeah, I think that's
pretty much all in Dokapon.
Yeah.
I know in the remake they added a fourth character to play as instead of the typical 3 that was in the PS2 and
was it only 3?
Yeah, it was only 3. It was red person, green person, blue person. I think they added pink person to this one.
Well, I played as green person, so that. Do you mean are you talking about the classes or the number of playable characters?
I think I'm talking about the number of playable characters. I'm pretty sure.
I was always 4-player.
I'm pretty sure it was always 4 because the whole game just feels like it's built around 4-player.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's 3 starting classes, which is maybe what you're getting mixed up with. Where you choose between the knight, the thief, and the mage. For everyone at home, don't pick the knight. It's bad.
True. It is 4-player. I just checked it on the Wii and PS2. But the PS2 only has like 2 controller slots, unless you get the stupid.
Yeah, if you get the multi-tap.
Yeah.
PlayStation back then trying to make four slots for controllers.
I'm looking at the reviews, and they are really kind of everywhere.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing, right? This game is very determinant on the group, and like if you're a type of player that enjoys being a bit of a snake sometimes, not outing myself here, you might have a pretty good time with Dokapon.
You'll have some fun, yeah.
Bro, that seems like you'd be in the Slytherin house in Harry Potter.
I'm not really much of a Harry Potter fan, but when I did the quiz years ago, I did get Slytherin.
Oh god.
Well, open mouth, insert foot, I guess.
So, anyways, let's talk about that other game that just kind of exists, right?
Yeah,
no one here has any strong feelings on it whatsoever.
Nobody does whatsoever, and it's definitely not me again.
Y'all,
I'm trying to tone back my negativity.
We've got a really good spectrum on this particular one. We've got someone that doesn't like it. We've got someone that decent fan of it, and then we've got someone that absolutely loves it.
And then you have someone who's never played it.
Yeah,
we got all our bases covered here. Let's go.
Yeah,
I'm sure a reasonable discussion will ensue.
We're talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, or as I call it, Xenoblade Peak Future Redeemed, because it's so fucking good. Holy shit.
You're wrong.
Shouldn't it just be Xenopeak then?
More like Xenoblade.
Well, no, because there's also Xenogears and Xenosaga.
There's also
so many Xenopeaks.
There's also Xeno-based.
There's Xenosaga Freaks. That's my favorite.
Was that a mobile game?
No, I think that was Pied Piper.
Oh, you're right.
I've spent a lot of time looking into Xenosaga and not actually playing Xenosaga.
I haven't played Xenogears yet, okay? And I haven't.
Every year I tell myself, this is the year I play Xenosaga. And then the next year comes.
I'm making a commitment to play Xenogears this year.
I've got some mysterious text files on my computer. Xenogears Disc 1 and Xenogears Disc 2.
I think I'm gonna just finish off the Trails series, and then I'm gonna sit down and play through the Xenosaga games.
I think that's my plan too. Once I'm done with the Trails catch up, to do the Xeno catch up.
Once I finish Trails SC in the 3rd, I think I'm gonna jump forward to Xenogears as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so this was a painful game to sit through, not because I hate it, but because my Switch was broken, and watching Kibbs and Knack talk about it was the most painful thing I've ever.
That was so tragic.
I was like,
yeah.
I know, the worst part was like, oh hey, your fan's broken. We gotta keep it for like a week or two. I'm like, ah!
You what?
Yeah, my day one Switch had its fan broken, and that was why I had to keep a cold fan next to the keep like an AC fan that it constantly pushes out cold air next to it to make sure a fucking game as big as Xenoblade works. And I had to wait 2 more weeks to get the Switch back. And watching you two talk about it and like talking like your kids, you're not like the biggest fan of it, but you have like good things to say about it. I'm like, come on, I need it.
I don't blatantly hate this thing. I just
it was your disappointment as well. One of your disappointments as well. I know that, but you still enjoyed it from what I remember.
I'm just a hater, bro.
I
just have to accept it at this point with how much I don't want to be, but
and that's why we keep you around.
I'll be the punching bag. Send all hate at KibbsMcGibbs.
Link in the description. Bro, we have 3 running gags so far, and this is episode 10.
Oh.
But then I got that Switch back, and as soon as I did, I bought a fucking eShop card and Tears of the Kingdom and played both of those, and I fucking loved it from beginning to end. It was one of the few games I played this year that I couldn't stop playing. I was that obsessed. I just love almost everything about this expansion. I don't like it more than Torna. I think Torna. Well, the thing with what makes me like Torna more than 3 is that Torna improved the combat of 2. whereas 3 Future Redeem kind of regressed it in a way. Not to say 3 Future Redeem combat is bad, but I prefer the class system of 3 over the more simplistic by comparison of Future Redeem.
I actually think I might prefer this to Torna.
Really?
Yeah, I've been sitting on that, and Torna's real good, but Torna did have the pace-breaking moments in it that I felt like
the community
really
thing
have.
was kind of pace-breaking, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I always appreciate with these DLCs getting like a stripped-down version of the main system that just focuses on some cool stuff.
I also like how they're like they're long. Like it took me like 50 hours to beat Future Redeemed.
One thing I liked about this compared to the base game of 3 is I felt that the character individuality was a lot stronger in terms of gameplay. Now, was the character balance there? We can talk about
I
I
wonder who's broken.
Double spinning edge!
Double spinning it.
Double spinning edge. We love our daddy. We love our daddy. But
Matthew was also hella fun.
Matthew was fun. I think the only one I didn't like playing as much was Matthew. Like I could.
What? Matthew?
I don't hate Matt. I just think he's the one I would play the least out of all of them.
Probably played him the most.
I played. If I were to rank the ones I played the most, it would be Matthew at the bottom, then Glimmer, A, Shulk, Matthew, and Rex. But also one of my favorite aspects of Xenoblade 3 was that like you're going through this world, and on the way you're looking at old locations, but they're like different somehow. Like you'll see the Orion Titan just like have a big chunk of it missing. You'll see like the Cliffs of Mortha location just be like on the side of a mountain, just standing there, not on the edge of a cliff. Future Redeem does that because it has some of the Xenoblade 1 locations in there. Gar Plain. It felt like a celebration of Xenoblade 1, now that I think about it, because it was mostly Xenoblade 1 stuff.
It
Gar
definitely, I think, was slanted more towards 1 than 2. Although,
I think 2 had base 3 had more 2 locations though.
the lineage of a certain character in 2 was a lot more prevalent than the lineage of a certain character from 1.
But
the father of everyone in Ionios.
But I like how they still kept the traditions. Like it's Gar Plain, but there's something off about it. Like it still kept with that theme of like, oh, it's just these two worlds have combined, but it's a little more different or not what we think it is. Like that's one of my favorite aspects of 3. And obviously the soundtrack's a fucking banger. Like if you hate Xenoblade songs, I don't know if you're a Xenoblade fan.
That's true.
Like the battle theme, such a banger. The final vocal theme got me crying at the end. Like I was sobbing there for a good 5 minutes.
Would it be bad if I said I actually don't really remember the vocal theme from this one? I remember the one from Base 3.
The one for Base. The one from Base. All the songs in Base 3 are. I love 3. The obviously 3 is my favorite game. So
wait, you like Xenoblade 3?
I like. But but also I still like the fact that I think I like the characters. I think I don't like the characters as much as 3 or the highs of 3 because you can't be Uni or Taion, like you just can't.
I'm wearing my Uni Taion shirt right now.
I'm wearing my. No, it's funny. I'm wearing the Lands and Senna shirt.
So I'm wearing a Taiko no Tatsujin hoodie, and underneath that is a Taiko no Tatsujin shirt. My wife picked my clothes for me today. I want that to be known.
He's an outcast. But like, I still like the characters in 3. I really like Matthew a lot as a main protagonist. I think it also helps is like it's one of those that you learn his struggle, well, early on in the game. Like, oh, this and basically killed your family, basically, and you're trying to find a way to fight back. And knowing that he's a part of Ouroboros just helps a lot. Also, I kind of like the idea of his weapon. It's really, I don't know why, I just like his knuckle brawlers.
Alright, this might be a hot take. I like Matthew more than I like Noah, I think.
Actually,
I agree. I
can kinda
agree.
see that.
I agree.
I really love A. A is probably one of my new favorite Xenoblade characters.
Oh, A is phenomenal. I love them so much.
Yeah, they're a highlight.
It's just the chemistry between Matthew and A is just I would like an entire 3-season show of that. I would die for that.
That might be too many seasons. but
Too many
you know
seasons.
what? You know what? A good 2-hour movie about the two of them, fantastic.
A Xenoblade anime though. How about that? It's I think Matthew was the weakest character overall. He kind of had nothing. Like, the most interesting thing about him is that he doesn't have the capabilities of summoning a weapon.
Do you mean Nickel?
Sorry, Nicole. Yeah, I'm stupid.
Did you
Sorry.
mean Nicole when you said that he was your least favorite character to play as too? Because you earlier when we were talking about characters, you said you liked playing as Matthew, and then you said Matthew was your least favorite to play as.
For all you know, there could have been 2 Matthews. I mean, from what I remember from Xenoblade 3, there's like 2 Noahs and 2 Mios.
Yeah. Sorry, Nicole is the one I think is the weakest. He just has nothing interesting going on with him.
I care so little about Nicole.
Nicole, like I said, the only defining aspect is that Nicole can't summon a weapon, so he has to use his backpack to summon like mechanical arms.
The only Nicole scenes I enjoyed were the scenes that were propping up a certain other blonde character.
Samus Aran from Metroid.
You got the S right. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I know, it's Shulk.
Glimmer, God, first impressions of Glimmer were awful. I was like, oh god, is this a Mithra situation?
Well, I mean, yeah, she is, you know, Pyra's kid, but for all we know, she could have taken more after her aunt instead of her mother. Happens sometimes.
Well, would that be her aunt or her other mom?
Oh god, this is...
Yeah, things get a little silly.
I guess at this point, right, it's a little late in, but spoilers for Xenoblade 3.
I mean, it's basically an epilogue prequel to Xenoblade 3.
Yeah.
But, Glimmer has the same thing with Mithra, where it's like, I didn't like them at first, but then I really liked them like, when we got to a certain point. Because
I like Glimmer a lot more than I like Nickel.
Yeah.
I don't like either of them.
I mean, I understand why people wouldn't like Glimmer, but it's like, Glimmer was basically... I wouldn't say she's like one of my all-time favorites, but she was one I like. She's the probably the Dromark of Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed for me, where it's like, they're not special, but I like them.
Glimmer's cute, and if you link her with Rex, it's really brilliant.
Oh yeah, that is true. Then we got Shulk, and he's Shulk.
Shulk's now got the god hair.
I love his design.
I like the fact that, like, there's so many symbolisms to the other characters with Shulk and Rex's design in this game. With Shulk not having his right arm, so he has, like, the hardest, like, the Dunban kind of battle tactics from Dunban. And how Rex lost an eye, so he basically has to... So it's basically Zeke with the eye patch.
I really wish the Dunban gameplay style translated into 3 better, because I love Shulk's design.
I also... The problem with Shulk's... The problem with the tanks is that, like, Rex exists.
Yeah, he sure does.
But, obviously, Rex is Rex in this game, and... Spoiler alert, Rex is probably my favorite Xenoblade character.
The way Rex was handled in this DLC, I was very happy with.
I was very happy with.
Shulk and Melia. Melia is the name of my cat.
Also, Rex got a major glow up in the design department.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, his original design was fine.
I mean, I think I got a little too much hate, but it was kind of too basic anime pro taggy, kind of. But
what about his anime pro tagging? That could mean anything.
The big baggy pants was one of
the big
ones.
baggy,
and the like open part of the pants. I'll admit, Rex almost filtered me from Xenoblade 2. I did not like looking at that kid, but his story was pretty good. I
think he has the most compelling
he had no drip as a child, and he's got a lot of drip upon growing up.
Hey, he got a little bit of drip when we went after chapter 7.
No, definitely that was a huge upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
But the real drip comes here.
Yeah, I remember posting on Twitter the picture of from Rex from 2 and then Rex from Future Redeem. And I said name a bigger globe, and a bunch of Xenoblade fans were like, wait, that's what he looks like. Because the whole design of Xenoblade 2 Rex is just so well known. It's like one of the worst designs in any game. I just find that funny. I also got engrossed with the story. Like, I like the fact that, like, Shulk and Rex being best dads, being like, hey, basically our kids, don't come with us. Because, like, their whole plan was like, oh, we're just gonna beat up Alvis. Is that what he was? I feel like
he was just A, or no, he was not A, and he wasn't Alvis. He was Alpha.
Alpha, yeah. Their whole plan was to beat Alpha. Although I also like the part where, like, even with the beef Matthew has with Ender's like, hey, we gotta beat up Alpha. Can we not kill each other at the moment? Also, that boss fight was hard as fuck. I don't know about y'all.
What, N or Alpha?
N.
Yeah, N I had trouble with. Alpha I didn't.
I plowed through the entire game, but part of that is because I was doing literally everything as I went, so.
But yeah, I love Future Redeemed. I jokingly say it's my favorite game to some people from last year, but it technically even shouldn't be a favorite game because it's DLC.
I think it does enough to warrant a small.
I mean, it's a 50-hour campaign.
Yeah,
like,
both this and Torna, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
basically full releases. And I know Torna you can buy separate. I don't think you can buy Future Redeemed separate. If I remember.
I wish you could buy Future Redeemed separate.
I don't think you can get.
Not that you should. To be honest.
I just wasn't super big on the story of everything. I didn't like the kids. Glimmer and Nickel were kind of meh. I wanted a little bit more from Shulk and Rex, and I honestly just kind of hoped that this DLC would have been more of like the two like Xenoblade 1 and 2 kind of coming together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the gameplay though. The gameplay loop I think is probably one of the strongest ones in the entire series.
I think it is just the best.
I think
in terms of the gameplay loop.
I think in terms of gameplay loop, I prefer 3, but I also prefer 2, base 2, not Torna. Because base 2, when you get it in there, like it just clicks.
I think I'm at the point for myself at least where I think base 2 I think is probably my favorite combat in the series. But I think the overall like exploration cycle, I gotta give it to Future Redeem.
I think 3 and Future Redeem like have the best exploration side of Xenoblade.
3's is good too, but I think Future Redeem goes farther.
I liked 1 and 2's exploration more than I did 3 and Future Redeemed. I liked exploring the world a bit more. I just felt more compelled by the world of 1. I'm a big Xenoblade 1 shill. 3 was neat and it was solid, but it wasn't. I didn't want to scour I didn't feel like I really wanted to scour absolutely every corner like I did in like 1 and 2, and that could be because I'm a jaded adult now, but
I'm an adult. I have a wife and a job.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, fair enough. You have priorities. And you got other games to play, like
I mean, I am willing to, I do think 3 does lose. Both 3 and Future Redeem do lose some mystique because these are, while they are remixed pretty heavily, they are still maps from the past.
Yeah.
And the whole point of 3 is that the world kind of doesn't function because it's a hodgepodge, but it also results in some ways a less interesting world for sure. Like, one, everything feels really interconnected, which is super neat.
Mhm.
And then two, things are less interconnected, but there's just such a good range of things that you're going to.
Mhm. Yeah.
I agree with those. I was just enthralled. I don't know. I'm probably blinded, but I'm just enthralled in all of the worlds of Xenoblade. Like, even if even 3 is the weakest one, like, least interesting because like you said, it's a hodgepodge and how they just don't work. I still just find it interesting to see the characters react to, like, there's a giant fucking sword over there. Like, that's just interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, and it's just funny because also I found it kind of creative how, I don't know if it's creative, but like how at the end, like, the whole world you visit in Future Redeem, it doesn't exist anymore in base 3. Like, I just found that interesting as well. Like how, like, we just learned the origin of how Origin was right there, basically. Like, I just find that interesting. And also there was a Xenosaga reference in there.
That, like, was kind of huge. I hope they remastered Xenosaga episodes 1 through 3. We got Batten Kaitos 1 and 2. That was something I really wanted to get to before we started recording all the podcast stuff. But I was like, "There's no way I'm getting through these 2 games." And then, especially going at the time, I was really deep into Trails. So I was like, I got time for this JRPG.
But no, Future Redeemed, I love it. I want to do podcasts on the Xenoblade games so badly, but I want to wait for Protector to play them.
Yeah.
It'll happen one day.
One day.
While maybe Kibbs didn't murder Future Redeem like you expected, there definitely was a murder this year.
There was a murder this year, and I think Kibbs committed because of one game, Over the Frontiers.
Okay, this is where I chime in because, well, I got 2 words to sum up this next one, and you're gonna love it.
Sonic dies!
Welcome to the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Yet another Shadow Drop release in 2023. I'm starting to sense a pattern here. The main games of 2023 that I've played, and they're all Shadow Drops. Like, what the shit? I mean, except for the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, but, one thing at a time here. An April Fool's project. Right, not many people would have thought much of it, though it did get a lot of attention just because of the fact that, well, as the name of it suggests,
Sonic dies!
I don't even know if Craig's picking those up.
I don't think he's picked up previous ones.
I'll edit it in.
well, okay, in case it doesn't work, it's some Tommy Johnny saying Sonic dies from his 06 video. Anyways, yeah, the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Played it pretty much the moment it came out. For what was supposed to be an April Fool's game, it did decide to release on March 21st for whatever reason, and you know what? Didn't really have much of any expectations. It was free, it was made by the social media team and some other associates who worked on
I knew some
Sonic.
people from the IDW comics worked on the art for this one as well.
So, there was certainly no involvement from Ian Flynn, which we'll get to that in a bit, but I just want to say this right now. Putting the symphonies to one side, this is the best thing Sonic has ever done in the 2020s by a country mile. Like, holy shit. And for the franchise's first crack at a visual novel, they nailed it. Now, because of the nature of it being a short 2 to 3 hour free game you could download onto your laptop, even if it's a potato, you're not gonna get much out of, satisfying puzzle solving or trying to figure out a case like in, I don't know, Ace Attorney or solving puzzles like his Professor Layton. And the main highlight of this one, it is all about the characters. And, well, the art, which I'm gonna say this right now, it looks absolutely fucking gorgeous. You could post any screenshot of the game and look like an absolute treat for the eyes. I don't know what specific artists they got on to make this art style, but it definitely is evocative of past works. It's like IDW. Oh, but on the note of the characters, I'm just gonna say this right now. Sonic, as a franchise, has had a lot of trouble with consistency in their character writing. It usually dips on who's getting it the worst, but over the past, I want to say 10, 11, fuck, maybe we could even go and say 14, been especially out of whack. And in recent years, there's definitely been key points of certain characters just not being all there. Like, Shadow throughout most of the meta era, Amy in that same vein, and especially in Frontiers, Sonic and Sonic Prime, Tails, a sad case. That one is. So when I say that Sonic, the funny game where Sonic dies, does not have any issues with its character writing or story, it really is that big of a deal. Typically people are going to be quick to say, oh, Sonic fans are so quick to bitch, they don't know what they want, even though we're talking about a franchise that effectively has multiple fan bases, so of course there's going to be conflicting opinions, but whatever. And I think that it is very important to highlight that no one took issue with how anyone was handled in the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. No complaints about Sonic, no complaints about Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Vector, Espio, Blaze, Rouge, and especially Shadow. That was a big one people were concerned about. It was truly something else. And oh yeah, speaking of Amy, the premise is it's her birthday, and they're going on the Mirage Express has to have a little murder mystery party. And guess who gets to die?
Tails.
Nah, it's Sonic. And about time too, the blue bastards had it coming. And you play as an initially nameless new employee who's going to be taking over for the conductor who's just about to retire. The new employee's name is defaulted to Barry in the trailer and stuff, so that's what people have gone with. And you know what? It's really charming just seeing these characters actually get the spotlight, especially now that you're playing from the point of view of some random civilian who has no idea just how crazy the shit that these characters get up to really is. But it is pretty charming just to see Tails play the role of detective, have Amy going all in on the whole journalist thing, and seeing some kind of hints at a rivalry between Knuckles, Vector, and even Shadow on a Super Monkey Ball arcade cabinet, and Espio's questionable attempts at poetry, and just, in general, it was just charming. And I feel like that's really the biggest takeaway from it. It's not meant to be something that's gonna blow your mind, after all. It's not Sonic Unleashed. But for what was likely a very low budget, borderline Mega Man 2 level kind of scenario, because that also was effectively made on the free time of those developers, and they just nailed it, Oh, especially with, again, Shadow. Let's put a spotlight on him for a second. And this man's been suffering from mischaracterization on two extremes. One is, the result of some fans feeling like he's getting too hyper antisocial and decides to make him a bit more goody-goody, which kind of misses the point of the character, and well, the very thing that a mischaracterization was made in response to, the kind of, pageantry aside, we're here to win kind of thing. Or, Sonic Boom Risoloric's infamous is, you know what makes you weak? Your loyalty to your pathetic friends. It's none of that. Shadow is obviously not exactly one for, socializing with crowds. He tends to keep to himself and has a bit of a death glare. But it's nice to see that deep down he does still care enough to show up at Amy's party at all, and is actually kind of stressed out that he doesn't have anything for her birthday, and spends half her time trying to half of the time trying to get tickets for a concert that her relating to a band that Amy's super into, but has trouble working the computer and a very obtuse printer, to say the least. Which leads to a nice little moment where Amy is so touched by it that she actually offers is to let Shadow come along, and well, I hope the two of them had a nice time at that concert. I do. Oh, don't know why Shadow's outfit made people think of Starbucks baristas, though. He's meant to be some sort of locksmith, which is, again, his role. And in terms of other neat character interactions, just the fact that Rouge and Blaze were paired together. It's just funny having Rouge and Blaze with each other, because the last time they actually interacted with each other, I think it was back in the Archie comics where Rouge was trying to steal the Soul Emeralds, and naturally things were a little frosty. But, that's in a whole other continuity.
The opposite of frosty.
And on that note, the heist that you get involved in with them and Tails was one of the funniest moments, especially when they assume that the Chow egg thing is a timed bomb, and the whole flurry of options then comes in and as to how to deal with it. And it's like, this is genuinely the funniest Sonic game in a hot minute, and it doesn't even try to pull anything like what the meta era was infamous for. It was just genuinely that well written. And again, it was pretty damn good. It also got kind of, emotional near the end. And when we see that the reason why, spoilers here, the train you're on is actually sentient, sapient, whatever the word is, and wants to keep the conductor around because it cannot process the idea that he is literally not physically fit for his job anymore and wants to retire for the quiet life because the friendship between itself and him is all it's known. But at the same time, it's pretty freaking toxic, and the heroes do have to stop it. But the Flicky that was trapped inside does get to go with the conductor in the end. So hey, happy ending. And in terms of other things, it does really well. The references were integrated quite a bit more naturally this time. In fact, the majority of them were just fun little Easter eggs where you can click on little screens in each train car to see an advertisement for various zones, like, say, I think Mirage Saloon from Mania popped up at one point. There was definitely music plant in the car Shadow was in, and you'll never guess what he decided to pick for the car Knuckles was in. Colosseum Highway from Sonic Rivals. It's like, oh, we're just casually going to reference that? It's pretty neat. And again, I cannot gush about this enough. Standards that a lot of people have for Sonic have just kind of been, let down on so many occasions. To me, it's gone to the point where I've been so burned with a lot of the series' output ever since 2013/2014 that I didn't even bother to pick up Superstars, and my interest in Sonato Generations is at an all-time low. And by all-time low, I mean rock bottom, 0. End of. But Murder Sonic the Hedgehog, it truly felt like this understood what makes these characters so good. And I'm glad we live in a day and age where more and more people are realizing, hey, Sonic's friends are not intellectually challenged, and by no means stupid, because that old meme. And to see so many of them return and just be, like how people actually like them to be written, and, more true to what makes them appealing, it really is a highlight. Especially coming off of the heels of Frontiers, where a lot of people did not like how Amy was handled, and then Murder Sonic the Hedgehog comes in, and then just casually reminds the audience, and, just what makes her good as a character to begin with. And I'm going in circles here, but it's really good. Also, gotta give them props to all the designs for the outfits that the characters were wearing. Sonic looks pretty damn spiffy in a captain's outfit, and I hope it becomes an alternate costume in the future, just because, man, rocks that look. And, especially Knuckles with the cowboy getup. I think it's supposed to be a sheriff, and, Rouge and Blaze's designs, they also killed it. And Tails is the most adorable detective ever. Oh, and, like the locksmith get up for Shadow. Oh, it's just neat.
The Starbucks barista.
But yeah, it's like, the reason why I wouldn't consider my Game of the Year is, well, the character writing and art and whatnot is really what carries it, because again, it's a very forgiving visual novel. It's not really going to get the brain kind thinking like you had to be working on a case in, well, again, Ace Attorney. You need to go for that, an immediate comparison. And it is perhaps the most accessible game in the entire genre. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. It never really intended itself to be like an Ace Attorney or whatever. It was just something to celebrate these characters. And they really did succeed. Like, even with the limited screen time that Sonic gets, because, well, he doesn't die, sadly. He's pretty damn on point. And again, it's really good. The one thing I really do need to highlight, though, Ian Flynn had no involvement with the game's writing. In fact, he was probably more occupied with having to come up with some of the concepts that would be brought in for the Final Horizon DLC in Sonic Frontiers, or maybe some stuff for Superstars, I don't know. But, he was very much hands-off with the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. And in a way, I feel like with what we got in Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog instead, it is perhaps for the better. Because we're not gonna get a random, that was on par with Doc Geyer, easy. It just feels a lot more natural.
Is that it?
Well, other than I want it to come to Switch, not really, yet. If you really, in fact, you know what? I'll just say this. If you really want to get someone, and you're not gonna go in, chronological release order, and you really want them to understand what makes these characters appealing, you make them play Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Just end of. It's that good.
I know I got my friend Alec to play this game recently, and he loved it. He was surprised that he liked characters he normally doesn't like Shadow and and the Chaotix.
He doesn't like Shadow?
He's not a big fan of
unbased. Unless he's specifically talking about meta-era Shadow, in which case I understand. I don't like him either.
It's a fun little romp, honestly. It's super short, so.
There's also the Game Gear game you play from time to time to solve clues, where it's basically like an auto runner where you play as a 32-bit Sonic, just collecting as many rings as you can. And then the final one, it's hard as fuck.
Oh yeah, that one was also pretty charming. In fact, the social media manager for Sonic, Katie, however her last name was pronounced, this technically marks her second voice acting role. The first one being the Jade Wisp in Sonic Colors Rise of the Wisps, and now the second one is just that voice that goes think when it's time to bring out the Dream Gear.
Knack, you think is this your favorite Sonic game?
Oh yeah, straight up. Unironically. I mean, probably not actually if I really sat down and thought about the ones I've played, but that's what I'm gonna tell people whenever they ask. I'm not much of a Sonic guy. I thought this was super cute and charming for what it was. I do, this was definitely okay, I think I get why people really like these characters. There's a lot of charm here. I love Ace Attorney and stuff like that, so...
Yeah.
This was just a fun 2 hours. It did what it needed to for me.
Sorry for the beeping. My Switch is killing me. But
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, thank God. It's probably gonna come recording then. But
yeah.
This game made me want to try Ace Attorney, because my thing with visual novels is that I played the first trial of Dual Destinies for 5 years straight on an iPad. Yeah,
it's probably one of those light versions, demos in other words. I remember investing a decent bit of time into Sonic CD Lite when I got my first Android tablet.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Oh god, that was so long ago.
Yeah, the Ace Attorney trilogy had that too, with the iOS release, which is really bad, and no one should ever support that one. That was my first experience.
Was it just the first trial and not the second one?
It's the first 2 cases for the first game, but that was the trilogy, so it had games 1 through 3. But which I mean, I do actually think case 2 of the first game is kind of like the perfect sample point. So I have no issue.
It's the perfect sample point because it's the one that teaches you how to like do things outside of the courtroom.
It's also where the narrative picks up a lot more in case 2 when things are set up for.
But yeah, this game after playing it, I was like, I want to try Ace Attorney because my brother bought the trilogy on my Switch, like when it came out, and plus Apollo Justice trilogy came out recently, so.
Yeah,
we also mentioned that you can play the Ace Attorney trilogy on Xbox with Game Pass.
That is true.
One of my buddies picked up the Apollo Justice trilogy and says that it's looking pretty good. So.
Yeah. But yeah,
probably not gonna pick it up just because I've played through all those. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Bottom
line here is that the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is perhaps the most unified that so many fans from different Sonic fan bases have been in so long, and it really does highlight that sometimes it really is that simple to just satisfy multiple crowds with I don't know, good writing and understanding of the characters. There's like, again, even some of the most cynical Sonic fans you can think of, they love this one.
I'd be surprised if anyone genuinely hates this game. Like,
yeah.
I assume there's probably some people that are just like, it was fine, it was whatever, but...
It really is that big of a deal. It cannot be understated. If you can get even those who will bitch about how certain games, things like they murdered their parents or something, trying to say, yeah, I like this one quite a bit, then, that's the mark of some really good character writing. It's just... It's peak, I guess. Like, best Sonic writing we've had since... Well, okay, let's see. If we're sticking to the games only, putting the comics, things like Archie to one side, best writing since Black Knight.
I would say it's the best writing since the Metal Virus saga.
I'd need to give that one a reread.
Yeah. But
yeah, this is the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is unfortunately the last of the new 2023 releases that I ever played, right? And it's a bit of a shame because there were plenty of others I wanted to, get around to, but conflicting interests, wanted to have further through, the Prime Ben 10 timeline, which also, and lack of money meant that there weren't a lot of options, which is a shame because when I played with the demo of Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's a pretty damn good one, and I just wish I actually had the time to, save up some money, go buy a copy for my Series X, and then commit evil all over the 4th Residence, but now in the RE engine. And they still kept the funny bingo line.
Perfect segue into not Kibbs corner, but Aiden corner.
Oh yeah, that was also the last game on the list I played too.
Wait, what? You played RE4 Remake?
No. Murder of Sonic was also the last game on this list I played.
Oh, that's
it really was the last one for me in
I've
general
still got
because
2 more.
Okay, to reiterate here just a second, I didn't play a single game from the back half of 2023, which is the entire reason I was absent from the last podcast. Like, that would have happened regardless of whatever prior engagements I had. I'm only here because, well, there's actually a handful of stuff I can actually chime in on. And I guess to get my final big opinion out of the way, Chainsaw demo for RE4 Remake was really good at showing me some of the strengths of what this new remake could offer, namely with how much more it leaned into the dread and intention and that RE4 the OG could have, only this time just cranking up to 11 because you're not nearly as much of an invincible action hero as you once would have been once you got adjusted to fiends in the original RE4. Alright, now enemies are a lot tougher to stun. And, resource management is of, the utmost essence. and feels like the Plagas infected villagers are a lot more scary with of what they can do. And also, if you play the chainsaw demo and abandon all your equipment before you enter the village itself, you can go down a well and unlock a TMP to use not just for then, but all future repeat runs of the demo. And the TMP is like the best weapon type in Resident Evil 4. I don't make the rules, sorry. The rest of you can carry on.
But yeah, I played RE4 Remake this last year. It took a while for it to click with me, kind of like with other Resident Evils that aren't Resident Evil 2 Remake. But when it clicked, good God, I think I prefer this over the original. It just... My problem with the original was that there were some rooms that were just kind of filler. Like, there was just, like, the sand ruins that were just kind of a filler level where you just fight the cult and just leave. But I think the pacing in RE4 Make is a lot better than in the original. I like the controls more because I don't have a problem with the original RE4's controls. I just think that Remake definitely has the slighter edge because aiming and shooting's not as confusing as in the original. And the problem with I have with the original is kind of dated. I think that's what RE4 fans don't really see like I do. Or I just think it's dated in aspects for it being probably the pioneer of the third-person shooter. But and also RE4 Make just adds a lot more tension, like Protector said with the chainsaw demo was the opening. The opening's really tense to begin with, and you learn the basics, like, oh, here's how you aim and shoot, yada, grab your shotgun, grab your TMP.
And also you can parry the chainsaw like it's Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah,
and
that
with, holding the Metal Gear raised blade and back with just your dinky katana.
People I talked about this game with... People I talked about this game with had a problem with the knife breaking, but I think it was a good ultimatum to make the knife not as broken as it was in the original for all that.
I wouldn't quite say the knife was broken, because truth be told, yes, the knife was a good option for dispatching enemies, but that was also there as an ammo-saving thing option. And because, the OG RE4, while it is a bit lighter on having to constantly manage your resources compared to some of the classic RE games, it does still lean into, survival horror, so the amount of bullets you have left for your guns does still matter, and being able to conserve them for more intense firefights is definitely a must. Not to mention that if you really tried to go knife only, it probably wouldn't end well.
You could get through the Krauser fight. That's
Well, I mean, Krauser is intentionally designed to, allow the player to live out that QTE cutscene in gameplay. Hey, try out most of the bosses, you'd get nay-nayed.
I love the fact that the Krauser fight isn't... I love the fact that you're not QTEing in Make. It's an actual full-on knife fight against Krauser, and it was tense as hell. They also got... I think another thing I liked about RE4 Make... It felt more... Did I already say this? It felt more tighter paced. Like, it didn't feel like... Yeah, I already said this. I'm stupid. Okay. But, I will say I haven't played Separate Ways yet, but from what I've seen, it kind of looks like a backstep because it has moments that were in the original RE4, like the laser dodging scene everyone memes on. But it's like, I don't know, it feels like a backpedal from what I've seen, but I haven't played it yet, but I probably will at some point. Oh yeah, the story in RE4 Make is a fucking story for once instead of the original. Like, I think most RE4 fans can agree that the story in the original was kind of there. It was a thing.
It was a Hollywood action and movie to the point where the story genuinely was kind of taking a bit of a backseat. It was also the most disconnected from the larger RE universe, despite the fact that the Plagas would go on to form the basis for a lot of bioweapons and future stuff.
But RE4 Make, they actually make it like Ashley has a moment where it's like, oh wow, she actually has fears and stuff like you learn more about like Leon before you start the game. He's like, I can't forget what happened in Raccoon City that happened in RE2 make, and it's like, wow. And even at near the end, he's still having like nightmare sequences from the Plagas about it. I'm like, damn, the most compelling RE story. Did we reach this point?
Hey. Oh yeah.
But it still also has the campiness of the like. I like the fact that Leon just doesn't care about the dialogue from the characters and just shoots them instead.
Well, I mean, I just like that they kept the funny bingo line. Like that one's iconic. You're not getting rid of that, no matter how hard you try.
I wish when he fell down the well, he still grappled it and shot the microphone so he can hurt the hearing of Salazar. Not Salazar. Is it Salazar or is it
It is.
Salazar?
Ramon Salazar, the 8th castellan of this magnificent architecture. I've been expecting you, my reverence. No thanks, bro.
I set my right hand to dispose of you. Your right hand
Your
comes
right
off.
hand comes off.
But no, if you get the chance, Protector, I highly recommend RE4 Remake. It is.
Trust me, everyone's been recommending it to me. You, Luna, pretty much everyone else who's played into the evil residences. Like, I know that I'm gonna have a good time with this, just as long as I don't got someone yelling in my ear about how apparently Ashley and Ada are not as attractive as they used to be, to which I say, what the hell are you smoking? Like, Ashley still looks gorgeous in this. In fact, I really love the new jacket that they gave her. And, oh, what? You can't look up her skirt anymore? Big whoop. The original game's ain't still there, you perverts. And apparently her boobs are even bigger in an RE4 remake. So it's like, come on. It's just nice that, Ashley's given Hannah a little more to do, from what I've seen. But it's also kind of cute that she still tries to effectively make a pass at Leon for overtime, if you catch my drift.
I also like Ada in this game. Like Ada near the end, she's like, "Wow, what is this thing gonna do now that I have it?" I'm like,
oh yeah, the separate race thing. Nice that they tried to find ways to integrate some of the wackier elements of RE4 OG into the remake. I think via that, and from what I hear, really good value for what you're getting as well. Mm-hmm. Although, I'm gonna say this right now, like, I haven't played the game, but I know for a fact that a new Wesker voice is not gonna compare to DC Douglas. Like, Wesker was just at his best when he had that slimy British edge to him, especially when he started going on and about, creating a new world where the strong survive or something like that, complete global saturation. And I get the remakes want to use new voice cast entirely, but they could have made an exception for him at least, or, a sound-alike.
I just think we don't need an RE5 remake at this point.
I mean, to be honest, you really cannot top Wesker in that one. It's impossible.
I mean, yeah, you can't top how hammy Wesker is. I just think, I don't know. I liked RE4 remake, but like the through line of what's gonna happen in RE5 if they ever remake that game, it's just.
I'm gonna be real. Like, this is the point where Capcom needs to look at other RE games and see, what out of them needs remade, because people have been begging for remakes of Code Veronica and Zero for a long time now. And considering that in the case of Code Veronica, that was like Claire's last major appearance in a game, barring Revelations 2, they could give that one a shot. Hell, with how people cared a lot more about Carlos after RE3 Remake, they could actually turn Steve Burnside into a good character for a Code Veronica remake. But I feel like this is just going a bit off the rails of the subject. Bottom line, the women in RE4 Remake are still really pretty, and Leon, sexy piece of ass. In fact, the funniest thing there, before I finish talking about RE4 Remake, there's more mods that sexualize Leon than those that do the same to the girls. It's nuts. People don't want the woman, they want Leon.
I also find it cool that even in the console versions, you can make the hair look gorgeous in the game. Like, that shocked me, even. Like, I was like, I remember Luna telling me, hey, turn on this hair setting. I'm like, why? It's like, they make the hair really pretty. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? And I looked in the game like, oh my god, wow, that's pretty fucking hair right there. But yeah.
Luna was cooking.
But yeah. RE4 Remake. Pick it up. It got snuffed at the Game Awards.
I mean, to be fair, so did Spider-Man 2. You can imagine that
Are we
perhaps
gonna bring
Leon
up the
took
Game
it with
Awards
them.
like every single one of these?
Why not?
I sure hope so.
I mean, it's
The
fun
Game-
to diss them,
The
honestly.
Game Awards don't really matter anymore. Like, it's all about the commercials and whatnot. An absolute joke. But bottom line, RE4 Remake, you know, if it went out of its way to keep the funny bingo line, there is still a lot of heart in this project, and the fact that it was able to bounce back from, you know, RE3 Remake being super mixed says a lot about how much effort was put into this. Like, you know, even if Capcom's been making some questionable decisions that will undoubtedly destroy their reputation in a few years, as leading to history repeating, right now they have kind of been on a roll, and RE4 Remake is no different. That said, next time, no RE5 Remake. The game is already good enough as is.
I think it's time for a quick one. Theatrhythm Final Bar Line. This is a Final Fantasy rhythm game. It started on the 3DS. Curtain Call, I think, is what the first one was, or was that the second one? I'm not sure.
Curtain Call was the sequel. Full Final Bar Line is the big release for current consoles that has DLC that contains music from The World Ends With You and Neo: The World Ends With You. That's the most significant thing about it to me.
No. The most significant thing about it is that it got DLC with Final Fantasy 16 music.
Okay, but did it have Dissidia music?
I think it did, yeah. It has
Good.
It has songs from a lot of the. What I love about Final Bar Line, it feels like a giant celebration of Final Fantasy. Like, I think there's no arguing that Final Fantasy soundtracks are like one of the most recognized pieces of music in all of media, in all of gaming. Like, tell anyone what one of their favorite soundtracks, and you're most likely gonna have like a Final Fantasy 7 or 10 or that one person who likes 13 soundtrack. I can't find that person yet.
The game soundtrack is good.
I mean, it's fine, but 13 2 and Lightning Returns has better music.
I haven't listened to those.
But I don't know. What I like about the gameplay of Theatrhythm is like there's certain segments where it's like it's one circle, but you're controlling it with your stick, and it feels like you're actually like conducting these pieces. Like it just feels good to play. Like I think that's the main thing that rhythm game should do, make you tap your foot, and it should feel good to play. And like I said, it has almost all the mainline Final Fantasy. You got 1 through 15, 16 with DLC. Even got some like obscure stuff. You got Record Keeper, you got Dissidia. You even got fucking 7 Advent Children. 7 Advent Children, the most fan.
Okay, to be fair, Advent Children had some really good music. The highlight of that movie's music for me was its remix of Genova. Like, that's the best rendition the song has ever gotten, and I'm happy that it accompanied Kadaj in Opera Omnia. Like, you know, that remix, it's killer, and it should have been in Smash Ultimate when Sephiroth got dropped, but, you know, Square Enix is used to disappointing people. I'm joking, by the way.
But yeah, like, all of the mainline ones, even 10-2, but they have the other ones that I want to mention. They have Type 0, Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, The 4 Heroes of Light, all 3 Dissidia, even Dissidia.
4 Heroes of Light is a deep pull.
Opera Omnia, Crossroad Chronicles, Record Keeper Tactics. They have fucking World of Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy Fable, Choco's Mystery Challenge, Mystic Quest, the other Theatrhythm games, the tribute things. And they even have DLC for, like, obviously Protector mentioned Our World Ends With You. They have Nier music, Saga, Mana, Live a Live. Like, they have a bunch of songs in there. Like, it could keep you there for days even. Like, it's a big list. And I'm not even, like, halfway through the song list, and I'm still going through it. Like, when the developer said this might be the last Theatrhythm, it feels like it could be the last Theatrhythm. It's so big. Silent no Kingdom Hearts music, I think.
That's what Melody of Memories is for.
Yep, and Melody of Memories is Melody of Memories.
Melody of Memories is pretty good, but for some reason it had to have a song untied to it that could only be unlocked if would only be unlocked in Smash Ultimate if you had save data for the Switch version of Mom, which is like, why? That's like the most expensive single song DLC of all time.
But yeah, if you like Final Fantasy music, I recommend picking up Theatrhythm.
I feel, well, with what you've just been over, it sounds like a lot more than just Final Fantasy.
It's also a celebration of Square Enix in that sort of sense as well. But yeah, it's definitely worth the $40 I think I paid for it. It's such a big game. And Kibbs.
That's me.
I think this is your game of the year, if I remember.
It could be his game of the year. Is it your game of the year?
No.
Oh.
I already went over it last time.
No, this is definitely your game of the year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was your game of the year.
Like a Dragon Ishin.
Yeah, like
it was
just cut to the chase and say that he doesn't really like it.
That's where you're wrong, Bucko. I really enjoyed Like a Dragon Ishin.
I think this is his favorite Like a Dragon game so far.
I could have sworn I remembered you not liking this. Okay.
No, I didn't like the gameplay. I thought the gameplay was a little
I think the combat
jank.
was it wasn't jank from what I've remembered or played. It was more so the problem with Yakuza for me is that like the combat's good, but it gets a little repetitive with like the not random encounters, but per se, but moments where it's like, oh, they're chasing me again. And I think the bosses in this one were really drawn out with how little damage you did to them. Like, I think Yakuza is one of the few like beat 'em up hack and slashes where I could say the story is where you're gonna get the most out of the game.
Yeah. And
well, I mean, from what I hear on Like a Dragon Ishin, this particular remake, think of, Ishin, and on PS3, so, for here on out, I'm just going to refer to it as, the remake as Ishin Kurami, to, keep it in line with the other Yakuza remakes.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gone past 0 yet, so I really have no idea as to what the future holds, but speaking from someone who's been hanging around those that do play a lot of Yakuza, and just from my general understanding of the discourse, Like a Dragon Ishin Kurami is perhaps the most divisive Yakuza release as of, right now. Like, I'm not even sure if 6 equals or surpasses it, but all the changes in Ishin Kurami tend to be received less than favorably with what they try to add on to it.
Yeah.
I
like this story a lot.
I think the story is really compelling.
Well, so before I went into Ishin, I was really into the Shinsengumi and kind of everything that surrounded that. So I was able to go into Ishin already having a decent bit of knowledge of kind of the context of what's going on, and it's not historically accurate in a lot of cases, as most things are, but it's not trying to be. So there were a lot of kind of a couple of nods here and there that I was like, oh, I get this because I read history a little bit. And it was Ishin gave me such a unique experience because I don't tend to mess with historical fiction. And if I do, I don't know about it. So it's really neat playing something and being able to draw parallels to history instead of drawing parallels to just other stories.
I like the fact that in certain cutscenes or certain moments where the characters are talking, you'll have a glossary menu. You click the buttons, it teaches you this specific word or this specific thing in history, and I'm more games that are in the past or in different areas of the world need this feature. Well, it's so interesting to learn about this.
Especially especially also kind of similar to that. There's a essentially like an affinity chart where you can keep track of everyone's relationship with one another and kind of how they feel about each other. And in a game that takes a lot from Yakuza, naturally relationships change every so often, and it's good to have something to kind of keep it all, like to keep track of it all. Yeah, no, for me, Ishin's story and characters, I really liked. A couple weird moments. It's still a Like a Dragon game where there's going to be some quirky things. There's going to be parts of the story where it's like you're just trying to be cool and you're not thinking about the rest of the story. And so like it's not perfect with the story. It's mostly hit, couple of misses. The gameplay was really bad though. I just, it's so brainless. I'm going through the Yakuza series. I'm currently on 5 and I just don't like the gameplay. It's too brainless.
I know in Ishin, when you get the gunner class, everyone just spams that shit.
It's
so broken.
Wild Dancer's pretty good too.
I use Wild Dancer the most, and every now and again, if I need a block, I'll use sword fighter, I think is what it's called. But
yeah,
I need to get back to that game. I want to finish it. It's just that those bosses just drain the fuck out of me.
The bosses are just, it's just
they're bullets.
Kind of mid. Yeah, there are a couple of moments where you can get literally just stun locked to death as well, which is another classic thing in Yakuza. You can also stun lock a lot of enemies to death and bosses to death, which I did for a couple of the bosses because it's like all right, you're stun locking me. I'm sick of that. I'm gonna figure out a way to cheese this fight.
I don't like the stun locking aspect because even in Yakuza 0, my favorite Yakuza game at the moment, I just get stun locked all the time when I'm not trying to. I have to constantly go out of my way to go to quarters or run the opposite direction of them just to get my bearings in order, and it's so frustrating. And it's why I'm hoping 7's my favorite, because 7's a JRPG.
So like I said, I'm going through it. I'm on 5 right now. I started it, but I haven't touched it much. The only ones I really like are 0 and 2. And then the rest are like really mixed bags or just straight cheeks. Ishin's probably my second favorite after 0. Zero's just really good.
I would say my ranking right now would be 0, then 5, and 2. 2 is just a better 1, but also I'm talking base 2, not Kiwami 2, because I know you played the Kiwami.
Oh, yeah, I played Kiwami. Yeah,
Kiwami 2 is mid, mid as fuck.
It's not that bad. I think people dunk on it a little too much, but
well, I mean, if you play the original and then you play the remake, you're like, wow, they either made changes that are not good, or just. And it's also the combat system of 6, and the combat system of 6 is the worst part of 6.
The combat system of the series is the worst part of the entire series for me. If it's like, oh, they're having a mid off, let's like, I just don't care. I've accepted I don't like the combat. I'm just focusing on story.
I would, hate to disagree, because I feel like the combat of 0 was pretty damn fun in of itself, and as long as you're not really committing to the grind to make yourself uber overpowered, you do actually have to consider your various options for your styles and your heat actions to get the most out of whatever scenario you're in. I just tend to, deem this shit to be a kind of case-by-case basis sort of thing. Like, one game might have mid-combat, the other might actually have it pretty good.
I won't lie. Yakuza 0 combat was brain dead to me. I just did stuff. I never had to think about my options. I would just beat up the bad guy and win.
I just liked it when
I mean, some areas were a little more generous with what you could do with that, and I feel like the weird nunchuck move that Majima does in Slugger style feels like the most broken and move of the lot.
No,
enemies will very rarely try to counter that in any meaningful way, but I felt like my options actually mattered, and gain a bunch of extra skills helped each style stand out more. Or even if I wanted to switch to one for a specific heat action, and it still felt like I was getting use of everything. In fact, the most situational styles to me were the legend ones. But we're getting off topic off of Ishin Kiwami here.
Ishin Kiwami is fine so far. It is a fine game so far. I like the story. I think the gameplay overstays its welcome more than it should.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're not currently Ishin to play more of it.
Not really,
that's a good one. Yeah.
Gunner style. Oh, where are you?
I want to be. Oh wait, I just realized I got to talk more about the Like a Dragon series when we revisit next year, because I'm gonna finish it off and then play the new ones.
Yeah, but the one thing about Like a Dragon is that it doesn't have these demons. You know what I'm talking about, Kibbs?
Bayonetta?
Well, yeah, we're back to Bayonetta. Apparently,
all right, the best Bayonetta game is the spin-off of Bayonetta Origins. I absolutely adore this game. Its combat isn't anything revolutionary. Its combat isn't even close to anything in the other Bayonetta games. You kind of just wander around and you control Cereza and the Cheshire. Cereza just runs around basically defenseless, and Cheshire goes and eats all the bad guys. And it's like, the combat's not anything exceptional. It's just a silly time. The game's aesthetic is...
This game looks super cute.
It looks so cute.
It's so good.
I have played the Bayonetta 3 actually has a secret mission in it, which is basically just a demo of this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I have played that.
Yeah.
Is the main mechanic like you do like a little dance? Because that was the thing that the demo focused on.
Do a little...
It's like a summoning circle, like dance thing. Now there was no Cheshire in the demo, because this I think was like literally like the very start of the game.
Yeah, I think it might be a mechanic that I've just since forgot about, because like I said, the gameplay to me was not like the main focus.
Yeah. It seems like the big thing is it's like an actual, like, you're playing through a storybook, right?
Yeah. It's like a big storybook thing, and there's a lot more like kind of puzzly. I hesitate to say platforming, because there's no real platforming, but I guess it's just adventure.
Yeah, adventure game.
It's like a little puzzly adventure game. And I mostly remember the puzzles, the adventures, because all the different areas just look so beautiful. The art style of this game is wonderful, and the story, which actually got me to shed some tears. And I'm kind of a bit of a baby when it comes to this stuff. Like I've cried the most of the Trails games. I think all but like one of them.
Yeah, the only one that got me to cry was Zero.
That's fair.
The
Yeah.
first game almost got me to cry. I'm gonna be honest.
Like, I'm looking at like the list of games I played in the like last year, and I'm looking at the top like 15, and I'm like, yep, about 10 of these got me to shed a tear. I'm just like, yeah, there they are, okay. But like, and Bayonetta Origins was one of those. It's just such a nice, cute little story. It has like a weird like playground sort of feeling. I felt like I was just kind of at like the vibe it gave me when I was going through it was like I'm under my covers, blanket over me, just playing a game late at night when I'm not supposed to, and it's just like
I miss that feeling so much.
It's like it felt oddly nostalgic, and it's really cute seeing Cereza in a totally different, like, because she's literally just like a little kid in this game. She's nothing like the Bayonetta that we know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little, Bayonetta. You can tell they're the same person still, but like it's so weird because I was never super invested in the Bayonetta story or the characters. To me, Bayonetta was nothing more than the cool girl with the guns everywhere.
Bayonetta stories, I feel they shouldn't, like, people talk way too much about, Bayonetta's from, like, I feel like the story should just do one thing. get you to the next action sequence. That's all it needs to do.
Yeah, I'm just like, and I'm like, I get where like some people really like the Bayonetta story, and some people are just like, I just want to play the game. But Bayonetta Origins just it's so cozy. And it hurts sometimes.
It's like a warm blanket on a nice winter storm.
Yeah,
it's like the perfect lighting outside, and then you realize taxes.
It's a shame because I think a lot of people don't want to get it because they're either not into Bayonetta, or if they are into Bayonetta, it's like, well, this doesn't look like the Bayonetta I like.
I actually think there's one other big thing that's keeping people from touching this, which is the price point.
Yeah,
because it's a full $60 release.
That's fair. I've seen it go on sale quite a few times. I bought it for one of my friends when it was like 40, and I would say for 40 it's worth it because it's a decently meaty game. Okay.
I do really want to try it at some point.
I want to say it took me like 10 to 15 hours.
That's about what I expected looking at it.
Yeah, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's very well paced. There were no moments where I was just like, oh, I just want this part to get over with.
So what you're saying is it's the Super Mario RPG of Bayonetta games.
Exactly, that's it. No, but like even if you're not a Bayonetta fan, I highly recommend picking this game up. It's so cute. It's fun. My wife is never gonna play a Bayonetta game. She's gonna love Bayonetta Origins.
You know, it's funny to hear that Bayonetta Origins is actually largely beloved when Sonic Origins was mixed at best.
That's because Sonic Origins is horrifically mid. Bayonetta Origins is beautiful.
Sega games in recent years with the word Origins in their names. Where's Yakuza Origins? Actually, wait, that could be Yakuza 0, never mind.
Yeah.
But I guess that's it. Let's end it with this. So I think I'll know all of our Game of the Years. So I know me and Kibbs's. We're talking about games that came out this year, by the way. Last year. Sorry, last year. So I know me and Kibbs's is Final Fantasy 16. Protectors is Hi-Fi Rush, and Knack, I think yours is Baldur's Gate 3.
It's either BG3 or We Love Katamari.
It's Fire Emblem Engage.
Yeah,
right? It's gotta be.
It's gotta be. No. Protector's favorite game is Sonic Frontiers Final Horizons.
I'm gonna disengage from reality.
Silence, fool.
No, our favorite games are our least favorite games.
Do you guys off the top of your head know your top 5? Because like I got mine.
I know.
Okay.
I meant to do like a 2023 recap list, and I just never did one.
That's fair.
I know my top 5 is Final Fantasy 16 or Spider-Man 2. It could go either or.
Fair.
I've now fully completed Sea of Stars, and I can firmly say it's one of my favorites of last year.
Okay.
Like I got out of the Rainbow Conch and got the secret ending just recently. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, and it was about between these two, but I think I prefer Hi-Fi Rush over Fire Emblem Engage now.
All right, let me, if I have to do one right off the bat, BG3, We Love Katamari reroll, Hi-Fi Rush, Trails to Azure, and it's number 5. Who do I want? Super Mario RPG remake. Fuck it, I love that thing.
Oh yeah, not fair.
Like it feels a little bad having like 2 remakes on there. I don't care. I love these things. And We Love Katamari was at least a new experience for me. Also, Trails to Azure technically isn't a 2023 game, but it is to us.
Yeah, we won't talk about that though.
It's like a 2012 game if I remember.
It's like yeah.
I mean, it came to it. We got it got released in America. Yeah,
this game is 12 years old. Let's go.
It's 12 years old out there, but it's 12 years old in here.
No, I don't like that.
Oh,
I'm gonna get canceled.
Oh man,
I'll be the first one to cancel you.
But what are we excited for?
Well, I think Kibbs want to do his top 5.
I gotta do my.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Final Fantasy 16, Bayonetta Origins, Fire Emblem Engage. This is like the hidden gem of the year. Paranormal Sight, 7 Mysteries of Honjo. So good. Everyone should play that.
Yeah,
and
I
then
need to
it's
play that too.
And then it's between Trails to Azure and Lunacid. But there's so drastically different experiences that it's I can't really like pick one over the other.
I would play Paranormicid, but I want to play Stray Gods first.
Let's let you put Lunacid on there just because like that is a real 2023 game.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Another hidden gem of the year.
But what are we excited for this year? I know some of us are excited for Persona 3 Reload, and that came out recently.
Going to play that the second we are done.
TT, so on the subject of remakes, the game I'm most excited for this year is TTYD Remake, because of course it is.
Oh, that one I am also so excited for.
There's not a lot of like new stuff I've really got my eye on. I'm interested to see what Metaphor.
Dude,
that's gonna be a big
Metaphor
one.
looks so cool.
That's at the top of my list for like new releases. I think
I might check out Grand Blue Relink. I've gotten weirdly interested in that in the last few days when I had like no finger on the pulse with this thing. I
guess if we're on the topic of what new releases we're going to be looking forward to, I'm the outlier here. I pretty much have nothing that I'm like super excited for. I've got a bit of an interest in Persona 3 Reload, which I just downloaded onto my Series X last night, and we'll probably make a start on like tomorrow, now that I finished my revisit of Yakuza 0. And on that note, I've also got an interest in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, but I'm not touching it until I'm done with so many other Yakuza games, so I'm probably not going to play it this year. But I don't know, like...
I feel like you would be interested in, like... I feel like you'd be interested in games like Berserk Boy or Penny's Big Breakaway.
I have heard about Penny's Big Breakaway, and Freedom Planet 2 is finally coming to consoles this year, so that'll be a talking point in the eventual 2024 podcast, but, that one also semi doesn't count because it is an older game finally going multi-platform. Yeah, it's like, especially with the announcement of Sonata Generations just leaving me with nothing but a blank stare, it's like... 2024 isn't really starting off all that great for me when it comes to gaming, and I'm just happy that I'm going through, some classic Doctor Who stuff before revisiting New Who and going through Ben 10 Omniverse. Really should finish Season 3, which, by the way, Season 3 of Omniverse, so far, I've only got the last 2 episodes of it left. Perhaps the best season of Omniverse yet, and to me, breaks the curse of mainline Ben 10 shows. We're excluding the reboot here because I haven't gotten it to yet. It's having the curse where they tend to dip in their third seasons. It's like, so far it's been genuinely really good, and I can't wait to see if the Frogs of War Parts 1 and 2 impress.
That's cool.
History can strike me down. We will be getting a Switch 2 announcement this year.
Oh, no.
I'm saying it. Not even necessarily. Okay, maybe not. It probably won't be called Switch 2. Whatever the next Nintendo console, they're announcing it.
Yeah.
All I care about is whether or not we're going to get a Metroid Prime 2 remaster, or if Prime 4 finally gets a release date.
We're gonna get Dread 2.
We're gonna Prime 4 is canceled outright.
Dread HD.
Yeah. Wait. HD.
I don't know about y'all, but Earthblade and Hades 2 are like high on my radar. Hades 2 for being a sequel to Hades, but Earthblade by being from the creators of Celeste.
Does that come out this year?
That's what it says.
Probably.
I have not kept up with the development of that one.
I've actually got a lot on my list for 2024 that I'm super stoked for.
I'm interested in Kibbs. Thank you for telling me about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, because that game looks awesome.
Dude, that game's sick.
Princess Peach Showtime's still one I'm interested in checking out. Bro, Phantom Blade Zero. I need more information on that game. That game looks sick as fuck.
I want more information because I'm not super sold on it. It looked sick from like the 1 or maybe 2 trailers that I saw, but I want to see more. But no, I got a ton on my radar right now. Stellar Blade,
cool.
Like another Code Recollection I want to get to. Of course, I'm gonna hopefully get caught up so I can get to Infinite Wealth.
I want to try another Code. That looks. I want to play those games for a while.
And if I get to it, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth might be one I play this year.
Yeah, my goal is to get through Final Fantasy VII original, and then remake part 1, and then getting to Rebirth.
Yes, that's the correct order.
Yep. I just realized Stellar Blade and Sandland come out on the same day, and
Sandland,
Sandland,
that's
yeah,
the Toriyama one, right?
yeah, and so I'm like, I'm gonna have to choose. Deca Police probably comes out this year. I'm waiting for that. And then of course, Trails Through Daybreak.
I hope Harmonium
Gotta get
comes
more
out.
Trails.
I hope Harmonium comes out
If
this
I
year.
can somehow hit Reverie this year, maybe I can touch Daybreak. like December 31st, I'll start.
Yeah,
Daybreak.
right. All right, I got one. I got a question. Who here? Show of hands. Make some noise. Who's getting Luigi's Mansion 2 HD?
I probably will, but that's only because, you know, I care more about Luigi than I do Mario. It's the same reason why I'm gonna get around to Luigi's Mansion 3.
I actually thought Dark Moon was pretty good, but I don't know if I have it in me to get it again.
I have a copy of Dark Moon. I just haven't played it yet because I haven't played the original yet.
I'll never forgive NOA for giving it a subtitle and then only to drop subtitles for everything else.
It's so funny. I don't get it. I might get it.
It's one of my friend's favorite game of all time.
Make some noise if you're
the
gonna.
Biggest Dark Moon fan in the world. So
That's
he's super
crazy.
happy.
That's crazy.
Yo, make some noise if you're gonna pick up Pal World.
I'm not gonna say never. I am not interested in Pal World.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna say never, but who knows? If someone sends it to me and is like, "I want to play this with you and have a good time," then I'll go, "All right, fine." I'm not buying it though. You know?
Yeah. It's like that one friend who gives you the weird gifts. It's like,
yeah,
Pal World.
They're
not your pal.
Yeah. Gives you like little goody two shoes or something.
Wait a minute. I was gonna say I am the guy that recommends weird games or sends people weird games.
You gave me Pseudo Gorgalia, and I'm like, what is this?
I have stopped doing that unless I'm 100% confident, just because it does make me kind of sad to see me send these things and then just never see them get played.
I either like send someone a game that like I'm pretty sure they will play, or I'll just like if it's on sale, I'm gonna be like, this is in your library now. Play it if you ever feel like it. I'd like to know what you think. It's just like, you know.
I like to look at someone's wish list and see what's on sale and be like, oh hey, I'll give them this.
That's typically what I do nowadays.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll take a game.
But I think that'll about do it for this podcast. It was really fun talking about these games with y'all.
Yeah.
I hope we have some exciting stuff coming later down the line that aren't Game of the Year related. Like I do want to do trails with you guys. That's all.
Don't worry. In the gaming catch up for next year, I'll finish Engage and I'll hate it even more.
No. Then you'll have another excuse to talk about it because it'd be something you played. I'll cry. I'll be back for the definite set in stone 100% gonna happen Princess Peach Showtime podcast.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
I'm getting it day one, by the way.
I'm not day oneing it, but I probably will pick it up.
Like if y'all want to talk about something with me or with all of us, like I wouldn't mind doing a podcast on it. It's just really fun to do.
It'll be like 20 minutes of going, yeah, that was pretty good.
TTYD remake.
If we're all interested, we might have to.
Yeah, no, that has to happen.